All praises to the Most High. Shalom. I'm going to start off by saying, Call hello, Yahweh, Bashem Mashak Yahushai. This is your brother Yashawad out of the Bay Area. We're middle live. We're going to review a little semi-dialogue and debate. I was debating which one myself to go over. But through the Spirit, this guy, the real candy man, we're going to go over the debate about the Messiah, actually. Would you be willing to have a debate on the Messiah? What about him? Or what exactly are you referencing? That it's not who the world calls Jesus Christ? Is that your stance? Hold on real quick. Let me share this live. Yes. So it's not who the world called Jesus. I mean, we debate anybody anywhere, so it's not that difficult of a topic. I'm pretty sure you've been seeing plenty of debates from us on that. And, hey, there's nothing. Hold on, let me see. Oops. So I'm just sharing this live real quick. And then we're going to get started. Shalom, people. Like and share the video. Of course, somebody named the real Candyman. Before I even put my camera on, is asking for a debate. Like, come on, bro. But you know what that did? That just proves that if you want to test your doctrine, come to SICARII. We debate anything and all things for the most part. Through the Spirit of the Most High, we hold our own, because we don't create our own doctrines in the Bible. We just read precept on precept, and we just ask questions about it. That's all. But it's still the OT only guy. I don't know how they say they read the Bible, and especially our quote unquote Old Testament only, and don't even know the Old Testament. But anyways, what about Nature Boy? I mean, he's a freak, and now he's doing life in prison for his shenanigans. But anyways, I need to get him out of the laptop. That's what I need to do. But let me see. As a matter of fact, because I do have this, but I don't have an iPhone, so it's locked. But eventually, I can go to the Apple store and get a reset. But anyways, where are we gonna start? We're gonna start the video. Matter of fact, let's start with the debate, because this brother's asked about the messianic debate. Let's just go straight into that so we can watch live and see how this guy had, a lot of little, I don't want to say tactics, but points of contention, and this was a formal debate on Clubhouse by the brother Hassad and this other OT only brother. So let's just watch and see if he can steal some points and maybe have a better chance because it's easy just to talk by yourself and dialogue. Matter of fact, give me 1 second. What the hell? Yeah, let's just go here. Let's just listen to the debate. And the OT only guy goes first, I was going to start last, but since his brother's in the chat, I just want to show him what will happen. Even though this is a more formal, like I said, debate, but OT only people aren't that bright.
Yoshiyahu, just flash your mic when you have 2 minutes set. Are you ready to time? All right.
Ready.
All right. Thank you very much. So, Brother Gadol, you got the floor.
All right, well, what I'm going to be displaying today is that the writers of the New Testament, they take prophecies out of the Tanakh and they apply them to Jesus, in which, in the original context, they don't apply to Jesus. So I'm just going to go through a couple of these prophecies.
You see what he said? We take prophecies and apply them to Jesus when they don't apply. Which is, conjecture. That's his stance. So let's just see what he says. And yeah, we depending on when you come, we always on 60 commission. Unless we be in Sacramento or Oakland, one of the two. But we easily let that be known. But yeah, we in San Francisco every Saturday, unless stated. So yeah, 60 commission every Saturday, unless we in Sac or Oakland. But yeah, I don't know when you're coming, so a couple months could be any time. Who knows? So you have to communicate, sir.
And I'm going to show you that they have nothing to do with Jesus, and Jesus actually didn't fulfill them. So I'm going to show you some prophecies that were fulfilled by other people, and some prophecies that wasn't even fulfilled yet. So I'm just pretty much showing you how the writers of the New Testament just did a lot of making things up, and we're going to get down to the bottom.
The writers of the New Testament made things up. We'll see about that.
Of it. Simple and clear like that.
Okay, I believe that the Brother Gadol yielded the rest of his time, so you can kind of reset the clock, Yoshiyahu, and then let me know when you've done that, and then the Brother Hassad will be able to go.
I reset it.
All right, go ahead, Hassad.
All right, all praises. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That's all praises to the Heavenly Father in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His real name is Yahushai. This is the Brother Assad coming from the SICARII camp. What I'm going to be proving today is very simple. As the title says, I'm going to be proving that who the world calls Christ, some call him Yeshua, some call him Hamashiach, call him Yahushai, is prophesied in the Old Testament. In the brother's initial statement, he made a very big flaw. I'm just going to say real quick. He made a big mistake. He said that he's going to be setting out to prove that prophecies in the Old Testament, the original context is not Christ. Never even objected to that. So if he's going to be beating up that straw man, he's going to have about an hour and a half of preaching to the wind. So I look forward to seeing how this debate goes. Shalom.
All right, so the Brother Hassad has laid out his opening. So now set the timer to 10 minutes, Yoshiyahu, and then the clock will start. All good. When Gadol starts to speak, you will have your opening 10 minutes.
Indeed. So I'm going to start off first in the Christian's favorite chapter, they go to Deuteronomy 18 and they say that Christ is the prophet, Jesus is the prophet like unto Moses. And before I do this, I just want to make a quick statement. So it seems like the brother Hassad is actually going to agree with me all day that these chapters and verses that I'm going to is not about Jesus. So yeah, I want to point that out. But I'm gonna do it anyway.
But hold on, I'm free every Sunday. Real Candyman, I go live Sundays. As of right now, that's my only open day of the week. So if next Sunday is your goal, fine. You can message me on Facebook or Instagram at Yashawad. We can set something up formally because I don't know who you are. You don't have a picture, so you have to really make yourself known before we go head to head, because usually people that we debate show themselves, you know what I mean? Don't just pop up on a live before the live starts and just beg for attention type shit, you know? Anyways.
Just for the silliness and the mistakes of other people that claim Christ is this person in Deuteronomy 18. Right, so when we go to Deuteronomy 18, it states, and the Christian's favorite verse is verse 15. And the Lord thy God will raise up a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brother, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken, according to all that thou desirest of the Lord thy God in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not again hear the voice of the Lord my God, neither let me see this great fire anymore, lest I die. So we see that the Most High told the people that he's gonna rise up a prophet from the midst of their brethren like unto thee. Now the important question is why? Why is he raising up this prophet? And as we just read in verse 16, is because of what the children of Israel acquired of him in by Mount Horeb. Now that situation is in Exodus 20. And when we go to Exodus 20 and we read verse 19, it says, and they said unto Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die. So we see the children of Israel did not want to speak to the Most High, so they told Moses to go speak to him. So when we get back to Deuteronomy 18, this is why the Most High is raising them this prophet. And as we know, the book of Deuteronomy is written in the 40th year of the Exodus. Let me go read this in real fast in Deuteronomy 1, verse 3. It says, and it came to pass in the 40th year, not the 40th year of Exodus, the 40th year of the wilderness, excuse me. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month of the first day, on the mount that Moses spoke unto the children of Israel, according unto all that the Lord have given him in commandment unto them. So we see that Moses has them in the 40th year of the wilderness, speaking to them. And he's telling them that the Most High is going to raise them up a prophet. And this is important because, like I just told you in Exodus 20, the children of Israel did not want to deal with the Most High. And we know that Moses, the great man, he's not going to make it into the land, right? Because he didn't sanctify the Most High in the sight of people when the Most High told him to speak into the rock. He struck the rock twice, and he said that we give you water, right? So this is why Moses wasn't able to make it into the land. Matter of fact, let's go to Numbers 27 real fast and touch on a little bit of this. And Numbers 27 verse 12, it says, and the Lord said unto Moses, get thee up in this mount, Abram, and see the land which I give unto the children of Israel. And when thou seen it, thou shalt be gathered unto thy people as Aaron thy brother was gathered. For ye rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin, in strife of the congregation, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes. That is the water of Meribah and Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. And Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, let the Lord, the God of spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation. So we see here that Moses himself, after he knows he's not going to make it into the land because of what he did, he asked the Most High
Yeah, bro, you have to just tap in on one of the videos or let me know when you pull up. So we're not out of town, I guess, when you show up, I guess. Where are you from anyway? And also, the real Candyman, I just told you, Ayash Awad. Let me put it in the chat. Ayash Awad. That simple.
To raise them up a man. And why is this man being risen up? Look what it says. It says, which may go out before them, which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep which have no shepherd. So Moses knew he wasn't making it, but he's not a selfish man, so he asked the Most High to set up someone over the children so they won't go astray.
This is a very poor argument because it's just going to fall upon his own head. But this brother, the real Candyman, will find out soon.
So they won't,
He's going to say the same thing.
Get into all the wickedness of that nation, of those nations. And look what the Most High told him. And the Lord said unto Moses, take thee Joshua, the son of Nun, a man whom is the Spirit, and lay upon him his hand. So we see the Most High right there pick Joshua to be that man that leads the children of Israel into the land of Canaan after Moses died. And one thing you should know about the book of Deuteronomy just means a second law or restated law, right? So Deuteronomy is just Exodus, Numbers, and Leviticus. Moses is retelling them the things they already was told in the other spots in the book. So he's just giving them a pretty much a cram session before they go over the land in that 40th year in the wilderness, right? So now let's go back to Deuteronomy 18 because people like to just jump down to verse 15, but let's read verse 9. It says, when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after abominations of those nations. Therefore, there shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or observer of times, or a chanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter of familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord thy God doeth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God. For these nations which thou shalt possess hearken unto observers of time and diviners. But as for thee, the Lord thy God hath not suffered thee to do so.
See how he's just going a long way just to get nowhere? Like he's not even talking about the topic right now. He's just reading the story.
So we see the reason why this prophet is being risen is because the Most High didn't want the people going astray, getting into all these abominations when they get over into the land.
Which is what they already were told. So that's not what it says.
This prophet is being risen to lead them into the land of Canaan at this time period. This person is being risen to lead them into the land of Canaan at this time period because what they spoke about at Mount Horeb. The people didn't want to deal with the Most High face to face. They push Moses to do it. So now that Moses is dying, they need that person to deal with the Most High so that they won't have to. They need that person to lead them into the land of Canaan to be their leader so they won't go astray. Same thing that Moses asked them. So this is why this prophet is being risen. Nothing about thousands of years later. He's not someone to come thousands of years later. No, it's about at this time period, these people need a leader because Moses is dying. These people need a leader to be the mediator for them to the Most High because they didn't want to deal with it.
Wait a second. So Joshua was a mediator? Anyways, that's ridiculous because the Levitical priesthood was established already. So that can't be true.
The Most High. These people need a leader to lead them into their new land to take it over from the Canaanites. This is what this chapter is about. This chapter is not about Jesus. This chapter is about Joshua. And we know that because I just read it in Deuteronomy 27. That Moses asked the Most High to set them someone. And that person that was set over them, the Most High told him it was Joshua. Now, let's go to the book of Joshua real fast.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Let's go to the book of Joshua real fast and look what it says in Joshua 1:1. It says, now after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now, therefore, arise. This is that prophet that's being risen. Now, therefore, arise and go over this Jordan, thou and all this people unto the land which I do give them, even the children of Israel. Let's jump down real fast to verse 16. Let's see who did the children of Israel hearken unto. And they answered Joshua, saying, all that thou commandest us, we will do. Whatever so thou sendest us, we will go. According as we have hearkened unto Moses in all things, so will we hearken unto thee. Only the Lord thy God be with thee, as he was with Moses. Whosoever he be that doeth rebel against thy command.
He's gonna read all this, like, and wait till his side starts talking, because it does get, this is like I think it's a 5 or 10 minute first round, so Salaki, he's got to suffer this guy. This is his points to make of contention that it's not talking about Yahushua in the prophecies. This is just one verse that he's trying to go over right now. It's crazy.
And will not hearken unto the words and all that thou commandest him, he shall be put to death. Only be strong of good courage. So Joshua, as we see in the book of Joshua, coming from the words of from the Israelites, they knew that Joshua was that one that was risen from the midst of them, the midst of that congregation that Moses was talking to in the 40th year in the wilderness. They knew that that was Joshua. They knew this had nothing to do with thousands of years later. Because again, one, this person was risen because Moses was dying. He wasn't going into the land, and they needed a mediator to deal with the Most High for them. Two, they needed a leader to lead them into the land of Canaan. Jesus did not lead the children of Israel into the land of Canaan. Jesus did not, Jesus was not at the time of Moses to be that prophet that was risen for them at that time period. Jesus does not fit this. This is about Joshua.
Time.
All praises.
All right. That's the end of Gadol's first round. Brother Yoshiyahu, if you could just speak up a little bit louder when you give that 2 minutes, and when you give that time, don't be afraid to cut off who's ever speaking so everybody can hear you clearly say 2 minutes and time. But you were definitely on point with that. So good first round by Gadol. We're gonna bounce the ball to the brother Hassad. Hassad, he's got a call.
Yo.
His time will start when he begins to speak. Yoshiyahu, you ready?
Also, I just wanted to add right quick, I know Gorilla's on the stage as well. He'll be holding the time on his side's time just to make sure everything is accurate as well.
All right, I'm ready whenever. All right, I'll just start right now. So they say the best offense is a good defense. So I'll just destroy that first round attempt he just tried to make. So Deuteronomy chapter 18, and we'll start at verse 15. It says, the Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me, unto him ye shall hearken, according to all that thou desirest of the Lord thy God in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, neither let me see this great fire anymore, that I die not. Now, I would agree that this is not only the prophet Joshua, that this is Samuel, that this is a general statement for various prophets that are risen up from amongst the nation of Israel. However, when you read verse 18, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. This prophet in verse 18 on down, we're going to keep reading the 19, is not Joshua. And I'm going to substantiate this. It says, and it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require of him. So now that begs the question, how can I make the statement that I'm going to prove this is not Joshua? We're going to stay in the same book of Deuteronomy, everybody. Deuteronomy 34:9. And Joshua, the son of Nun, same Joshua the brother was referencing, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands upon him. And yes, Joshua picked up after Moses. But pay attention to this, everybody. So Joshua is Moses rather lays his hands on Joshua, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him and did as the Lord commanded Moses. But watch this. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. Deuteronomy 18:18 says that there's going to be a prophet like unto Moses. That's who that prophet's going to be. But then even after Joshua is basically anointed by Moses, it still states that there was not a prophet since that time like unto Moses. If Joshua
Dagger. Let's rewind that when we're done. See how Hassad just got right to it? 30 seconds in.
Prove this is not Joshua. We're going to stay in the same book of Deuteronomy, everybody. Deuteronomy 34:9. And Joshua, the son of Nun, same Joshua the brother was referencing, was full of the spirit of wisdom. For Moses.
Listen, just wait for the back and forth. That's when it gets dark. Because this is just Hassad's rebuttal for the most part. Because it's easy work, honestly. Like it's going to get so crazy. Because I don't want to listen to his solo part the second half because he's going to do the same thing, but it gets better during the cross-examination.
Had laid his hands upon him. And yes, Joshua picked up after Moses. But pay attention to this, everybody. So Joshua is Moses rather lays his hands on Joshua, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him and did as the Lord commanded Moses. But watch this. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. Deuteronomy 18:18 says that there's going to be a prophet like unto Moses. That's who that prophet's going to be. But then even after Joshua is basically anointed by Moses, it still states that there was not a prophet since that time like unto Moses. If Joshua was the prophet that was like unto Moses, it wouldn't say after Joshua is anointed to be the next man to lead Israel, there hadn't risen a prophet like unto Moses afterwards. That does the opposite. That proves that it's not Joshua. So everybody go on your scorecard and write first round knockdown, because that's just what happened to the brother. Now, most of us in here are Israelites, and we identify with being Israelites when we go to scriptures like Deuteronomy chapter 28, and we ask people, who does this fit? Who does this sound like? Who fits this description? So as I read these verses right here, I want you guys to just think about in your mind as I paint this picture, who fits this description right here? This is Micah chapter 5, verse 1. Now gather thyself in troops, O daughter of troops. He hath laid siege against us. So the context is there's going to be a siege against the Israelites.
This is a good point, because you're going to see how he tries to rebuttal it. And it's going to get bad.
Israelites. And they shall smite the judge of Israel with a rod upon the cheek. So let's just, again, I'm painting a picture here. There's going to, around the time of the siege, the judge of Israel is going to get smitten with a rod upon his cheek. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting. So around the time of the siege, the leader of Israel is going to get beaten, and he's from the tribe of Judah, born in Bethlehem Ephratah. Well, I'm just painting a picture here. I want y'all to walk with me. Who does this already sound like? Now let's get some more time period right here. Malachi chapter 3, verse 1. Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me.
Now people got to pay attention. His eyes running them off kind of fast, but this is the debate. Like, you just got to get your points out. He's not reading a whole dialogue for 5 minutes on one topic or one prophecy he said that he's going to refuse. He hasn't even gone into 2 prophecies yet. He's been to 1, and it got debunked within 30 seconds.
Now, when you read the very next chapter, Malachi chapter 4, verse 5, it lets you know that this messenger is Elijah. So the forerunner behind this is going to be Elijah the prophet. Malachi 3:1, behold, I will send my messenger.
Face to face, what does that mean? Can you explain? Because it seems like you want the link. And I hope you don't think it's Joshua. Like, I hope if you say it's Joshua, you just heard what the rebuttal is. So I hope you don't think it's Joshua or someone else that some people say. I don't know if you're deep enough for that conversation though, but you know. This guy just wants attention, but like I said, just watch this debate. This is gonna happen to you.
Messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. And
But you're not gonna make the same arguments because, like I said, you're not. The OT only people are just not that skilled with the word in the Old Testament.
the Lord. This isn't the all caps Lord. This is the lowercase Lord, the Adonai. Abraham was called Adonai. Adonai just means Lord or ruler, etc. And the Adonai, whom ye seek, shall suddenly come to his temple, even the messenger of the covenant. So again, now there's a guy who's going to have a forerunner of Elijah the prophet, who's going to be a messenger of a covenant, who's going to go into his temple. Now, guess what, everybody? There's only been 2 temples. The first one was destroyed by the Babylonians, and the second one was destroyed by the Romans. So that means this had to have already taken place.
Fair.
Even going back to Micah chapter 5, the siege that took place, what siege is that talking about? All right. So again, I'm painting a picture here. So we got a man who will be born in Bethlehem from the tribe of Judah, from the lineage of David, who would be the ruler of Israel, smitten with a rod across his cheek. All right. Who would have Elijah the prophet as his forerunner, who also, according to Isaiah chapter 53, verse 8, he was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the lands of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken, who would also be killed, not because of his own sins, but because of the sins of his people. Is this starting to sound familiar? Let's keep going. Psalm chapter 16, verse 10. Let me read this real quick. It says, for thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thy Holy One to see corruption. When you look at this word corruption, it means your body to decay. So not only according to Isaiah 53 and 8, would this man die, but he would die and his body would not be in the grave long enough for his body to decay. Does this sound familiar? Let's keep going. Zechariah chapter 12, verse 10. It says, and I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications, and they shall look up.
The side's just running him off, but we have to give the other guy an opportunity to speak. We're going to see what he says because we know, obviously, if you're a SICARII supporter or any Hebrew Israelite, One West, affiliate, we know pretty much what we believe. We believe who the world called Jesus Christ is the Messiah prophetically. It's not just because, he's just written there. No. The prophecies stand firm, and I don't want to spoil it, but these people are just crazy, bro. Like, they're crazy. But let's just keep going. OT only people, I mean, it's crazy.
Upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him. Now I already know what the brother might be thinking. It doesn't say me in the Hebrew, and he's right. It doesn't say me in the Hebrew. That's why later it goes on to say, and they shall mourn for him as one mourns for his only son. So not only is this man going to die, and not because of his own sins, for the sins of his people, but he wouldn't be dead long enough for his body to decay. The way he would be getting killed is by getting pierced. So let me read one more too. Jeremiah 23, 5-6. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch. Remember, we read in Micah chapter 5, one that is to be ruler in Israel, born in Bethlehem Ephrathah, same place as David. That's because he comes from the lineage and line of David. I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. So now let's recap on all this, everybody. And I want y'all to just think about this, and y'all let me know, who else is this talking about? There would be a man born in Bethlehem from the tribe of Judah in the town of Ephrathah, from the lineage of David, around the time of the second temple's destruction, who would die by getting pierced, not because of his own sins, but because of his people's sins. But his body wouldn't be in the ground long enough for his body to decay, whose forerunner would be Elijah the prophet. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody knows, it's beaming in their head who this is talking about right now. It's clearly only who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Real name is Yahushua. So I'm going to go a little bit further into that in the second round. I would like to yield my time, and if my opponent had any wisdom, he would just yield the debate. Sean.
All right. So he yields the rest of his time. Good round by the brother Hassad as well. Okay, so now we'll get into the second 2-minute round. The second 2-minute round, or 10-minute round, Salakia, the second 10-minute round, in which the brother Gadol will either have an opportunity to rebuttal what Hassad said, or plant his foot further in the ground on his position, or both. So the time will start when Gadol starts speaking.
Hey, he gets a rebuttal. Let's see what he says. Shalom, everybody. Like and share the video. We're just going to listen to this debate, and then I'll go into a little small lesson afterward. And I'm showing this debate because I don't know if this is a brother or not. You don't got no picture on his page. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have a channel. He's just typing in my chat, winning the debate on the Messiah, which is one of the easier debates to go through. But I decided to go through this debate through the Spirit. And he commented about it. So, hey, he's just going to watch how somebody gets washed on this debate. And he wants to get washed next week. No problem.
All right, cool. So let's jump back to Deuteronomy 34 real fast before I attack everything else you just said. Let's read it. It says, Deuteronomy 34, verse 9, it says, "And Joshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hand upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses, and there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses." What does the word?
Oh, this is rebuttal. Listen to what he says. Rewind it a little bit.
Had laid his hand upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses, and there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses.
The word since.
What does the word since mean? There arose not a prophet since in Israel. Since when? All you gotta do is read the verse before. Since Joshua the son of Nun was full of spirit of wisdom. This is what this is talking about. So you went here and you cut yourself, you knocked yourself out, because this verse is literally saying there has not arose a prophet since Joshua in Israel. Like,
Actually, no, it's not. It's not saying that. Let's just look it up right here, just for our own recollection. Don't make no sense. Let me stop sharing my screen real quick. Share my screen on the blue letter. Yeah, it's a terrible point, Ramaya. This guy's crazy, man. Let's just read it. Deuteronomy 34:9. And I hope the real Candyman's watching still, because reading comprehension is, I guess, only suitable when you have your own doctrine. But the Bible speaks for itself. And Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit and wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. It's talking about Moses. It's not talking about Joshua. Moses laid a hand on Joshua, but it's talking about how Moses laid his hands on him. It's talking about Moses here. They hearkened unto Joshua, of course, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. That's the clause here. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses. That means Joshua's not like unto Moses, because it says it right here. That's plain in the text. Does that make sense? Look, Moses laid hands on Joshua, and they did as the Lord commanded Moses. That's how easy it is. It doesn't make sense. Like, how do you butcher that context? That's crazy. Let's go back.
You cut yourself there. And now you went to Micah 5. Let's go to Micah 5 because you made yourself look like you don't read the Bible. Micah 5, and let's go to verse 5. And this man, the same man that's from Bethlehem, Ephrathah, that's coming from that clan, the same man shall be peace when the Assyrian come into our land. So this same man you're talking about, that you're saying is Jesus, this same chapter tells us that this man has to be the peace when the Assyrian come into the land. So this is literally talking about, let's go to 2 Chronicles 32 real fast. It says, and after these things, the establishment thereof, Sennacherib, the king of Assyria, came and entered Judah and encamped against the fenced cities and thought to win it over for himself. And when Hezekiah saw Sennacherib come and that he was purposed to fight against Jerusalem, he took counsel with his princes and mighty men and stopped the waters of the fountain which were throughout the city, and they did help him. So this chapter you just went to, it's literally talking about the siege when the Assyrians came during the time of Hezekiah.
Uh-oh. Did you hear that? This rebuttal to Micah 5 is when Assyria came against Hezekiah. All right.
That's what this is talking about. So let's just go read this again. This is what happens when you pick verses out the Bible trying to build a doctrine. You make yourself look foolish because the same chapter he went to let us know that this is talking about when the Assyrian came into the land. Now, unless you're going to tell me Jesus or Yahushua was king when the Assyrians besieged Judah, I know you ain't going to tell me that. I know y'all make up things so much. But look what this said. I'm going to read it again. But this man shall be the peace when the Assyrian shall come into our land, and when he shall tread in our palaces, then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men, and they shall waste the land of Assyria with the sword, and the land of Nimrod, and with the entrances thereof, and he shall deliver us from the Assyrian when he come into our land, when he dread into our borders. So this is literally talking about the Assyrians. Literally.
All right. Literally talking about the Assyrians.
Literally. You just make yourself look like you don't know the Bible, and which you don't. And then you went to Psalm 16. Let's go to Psalm 16. Psalm 16, verse 1. A miktam of David. So we see this is David talking about himself.
Whoa. David's talking about himself. All right.
Serve me, O God, for in thee I do put my trust. O my soul, thou hast said unto the Lord, thou art my Lord, my goodness. This is David literally talking about himself. Literally. So how can this be about Jesus? Then you went to Zechariah. I just want to cut all this. Y'all just be just craziness. Then you went to Zechariah 12.
Okay.
You went to Zechariah 12 and 10. And it says, I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look unto me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourning for the son. What is this chapter talking about, Hassad? This chapter is talking about a war at the end of days where someone...
All right, everybody's got to listen. That's all. Just listen to what he's saying. Because he's saying a lot. He's trying to rebuttal with his Old Testament only understanding. Let's see what Hassad says when he gets over here.
Is literally being killed. This person is being killed during this war. And look what it says in verse 11. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as for I don't even know how to pronounce this word right, Hadamarmi, however, in the valley of Megadon. And that's talking about when King Josiah was killed by the king of Egypt, how the whole nation mourned because he was killed. So in that same way, how King Josiah was killed and the whole nation mourned, in the future, someone's gonna die during this great war that's talking about in the book of Zechariah 12. How we know this is talking about a war? Look what it says. And look what it says right here. And that day, oh no, let's go up a little bit. And that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people, and all the burden themselves will be cut into pieces. And though all people of the earth be gathered together against it, In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with the astonishment and his rider with madness, and I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah, and I will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be the strength in the Lord of hosts and their God. And in that day, I will make the governors of Judah like the health of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheath, and they shall devour all people round about on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. So again, this is talking about a great war at the end of days when all nations come against Jerusalem, and the Most High uses us to wipe them out. But in the midst of that war, someone's going to be killed. Literally, someone's going to be killed. He's going to get killed and die, and that's going to cause the nations to mourn. That's what this.
So it's just a future prophecy, a future person that's going to get killed. All right, whatever.
This is what this is talking about. Unless you're saying Jesus is going to come back and die during a war, how's that Jesus? This is ridiculous. Now, and then you went to Jeremiah 23. I think that was, you went? Jeremiah 23, 5 and 6.
Now remember this. You go to Jeremiah 23, try to rebuttal it, but watch what happens when it's gets him in the corner on this same verse in the future.
It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord. I will raise up unto David a righteous branch. A king shall rise and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. How is this Jesus? Jesus came, and y'all say the Israelites went into captivity after that. The temple was destroyed, and y'all we scattered. The transatlantic slave trade happened. How the hell y'all dwell safely? How was that Jesus? Stop the foolishness, man. That is not about Jesus. That did not. Come on, I'm not even gonna get into that. But he just went, embarrassed himself. All these verses, I just cut them. That you should feel a little embarrassed. I think I got a little bit more time, so I'm gonna spend the rest of my time what I was gonna spend my second round on. So let's go to Isaiah 7 real fast. Matter of fact, let me go to Matthew 1. Matthew 1. It says, now I'm gonna start at 22. It says, now all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the Lord by the prophet, saying, behold, a virgin shall be with child and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name
2 minutes.
And they shall call his name Emmanuel, which is interpreted as God with us. Let's go to Isaiah 7. Because Matthew's saying Isaiah 7 and 14 is about Jesus. But let's touch on a few things in Isaiah 7 real fast. In Isaiah 8, it says, for the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, and it be not a people. So we see King Ahaz, God told his enemies will be destroyed. And it says within 65 years. That is 65 years. So this sign that was given in verse 14, it was actually a sign to the prophecy that these two kingdoms, which is Syria and the northern kingdom, would be destroyed within 65 years. And we also get in the same chapter, verse 20, in the same day shall the Lord shave with a razor that is hired, namely by them from beyond the river, the king of Assyria. So we even get told who is going to do it. So within 65 years, these two kings that threatened King Ahaz would be destroyed. So we get a time period, and we got who is going to be done by. How Matthew saying 700 to 1,000 years later that this is about Jesus, when Isaiah said it would happen within 65 years. That makes no sense. Matthew is a lie. No, I'm not. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be respectful. I don't know what Matthew was doing, but the prophet Isaiah said that baby had to be born within 65 years, and King Ahaz's enemy would be destroyed within 65 years. And I hope I got a little bit of time. In chapter 8, we see the baby was born right here, chapter 8 and 8. And he shall pass through Judah, and he shall overflow and go over. He shall reach even to the neck, strengthen of his wings, and fill out.
See, he's going on a tangent. He's rebelling, but we'll see how it holds up in the future.
The breath of the land, O Emmanuel. So we see Emmanuel was born.
That's time.
All right.
All right. Another good round from Gadol.
Yep. He ran out of time. Let's see how his side rebuttals.
So now we're going to bounce the ball to Hassad for his second 2-minute or 10-minute round, in which he will be able to further concrete his position or rebuttal the brother Gadol. The time will start when he starts speaking.
Have y'all ever planned something so cold and everything that your opponent you thought he was going to say, he said? I got this brother down to a science. I literally knew he was going to say all of this, and it's so cold how he keeps boasting how he just destroyed me. I embarrassed myself. Do you guys want to see a dead body? Let's first start with what he said in Isaiah. So he went to Isaiah, and he said, this is clearly talking about in Isaiah, son. He read chapter 8, and that's the original context. He put his foot in his mouth earlier when he said in Zechariah chapter 12, that's talking about, I think he said King Josiah, the one that got killed by the Egyptians. And then it said, but it's going to have an ultimate fulfillment later in that in future. So what he's letting you know right there is that he subscribes and he believes to something called dual fulfillment. So if he attempts to even say, no, I don't, he's a liar and a hypocrite because he just admitted it. So now let's deal with that Isaiah. So yes, Matthew does credit this with being applied to Christ. Why does he do that? Because let's just read Isaiah chapter 7. And let's get that Isaiah chapter 7, and let's start at verse 9. Okay, I'm gonna try to go through this as quick as I can. I need y'all to walk with me. So Isaiah chapter 7, verse 9. It says, I'm sorry, verse 8. For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Rezin. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people. So what's going on here in the context is Hezekiah is tripping because Sennacherib and the Assyrians are coming to destroy them. And I'm gonna go to verse 10. Moreover, the Lord spake again unto Ahaz, saying, or rather Ahaz, it says, ask thee a sign of the Lord thy God, ask it either in the depth or in the height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord. So the Lord told Ahaz, just ask a sign from me. And Ahaz said, no, I don't want to ask a sign. I want to tempt you. Verse 13, it says, and he said, hear ye now, O house of David. Is it a small thing for you to weary men, but will you weary my God also? Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. Now watch this. Here's the point, everybody. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. So what it's letting you know is Ahaz didn't want to ask the Lord for a sign. But the Lord said, look, just ask a sign from me. And what is the sign? Before this child, I'm going to get it later. It says, I think it's in chapter 8, Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 18. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth in Mount Zion. Right? And his name was called Emmanuel. So let me go back in Isaiah chapter 7, because the children are the sign of what? Let me go back and Isaiah chapter 7, and I'm going to read it one more time. It says, for before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. Before this child even has knowledge to know what's right and what's wrong, this child is going to be a sign that God is going to come and defend them. That's all that this means. The Lord wanted to give Ahaz a sign. If you're tripping about the Assyrians coming to destroy you, before this child has the ability to say yes or no to anything, to choose right and wrong, I'm going to protect you. This child is a sign. All Matthew is doing is taking that same premise, and the child's called Emmanuel, that this child is born. Because this child is born, God is with us. That's what Emmanuel means. That's why in Luke chapter 2, verse 34, it says, and Simeon blessed them and said unto Mary, his mother, behold, this child is set for the fall and rising again of many in Israel, and for a sign which shall be spoken against. That's all this is. They're taking the same principle of what happened with Isaiah and his son. The fact that this child is born is a sign that Emmanuel, or that God is with us. The same principle with Christ. That's all that's being done. Now, let me go.
It's that simple. Everything doesn't apply to Yahushua in the New Testament. him being born is a sign of God's with us. That's the bottom line.
Back to Micah and utterly destroy this guy because he has no idea what he's talking about whatsoever. It's not even close, everybody. So let me read a couple things in Micah.
Exactly. Micah 5 and 2, he has no idea what he's talking about. Let's see how this side says. And I hope the real Candyman's listening because I know he's not going to say this anymore after this.
Chapter 5, because I knew he was going to say it's Hezekiah. So again, let's start at verse 2. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah. I dare this guy to go into the Bible and prove Hezekiah is born in Bethlehem out of Ephratah. I dare you to do it. You can't. Then it goes on to say, whose goings forth have been from old of everlasting. Brother, don't you realize Micah chapter 1, verse 1? Watch this. It says from old of everlasting, Micah chapter 1, verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord that came to Micah, the Morshite, in the days of Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. How the hell is Hezekiah from of old, from ancient time, if Micah is living around the same time as Hezekiah? What are you talking about, man? Let's go back to Micah chapter 5 now, because look what it also says. Yeah, and show me where Hezekiah wasted Babylon too. I'm interested to see that. Micah chapter 5, verse 11 too. Look what it says. And I will cut off thy cities. I will cut off the cities of thy land and throw down all thy strongholds. And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thy hands, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. I know the brother's thinking he might try to go to 2 Kings chapter 18, verse 4, when Hezekiah gets rid of the Ashereth poles. Here's the problem. Afterwards, we fall right back into idolatry. According to Micah chapter 5, when this takes place, verse 13, thy graven images also I will cut off, and thy stamming images out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands. Did we still practice idolatry after Hezekiah? If the answer is yes, then this can't be Hezekiah. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. So he's been debunked there. Now let me go to another thing he talked about.
Quick, fast, in a hurry. That easy. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like, what's this guy talking about?
About in the book of Psalms.
Like, we don't even got a debate next week, the real Candyman, because this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna get obliterated, bro. Like, this hasn't even, we haven't even gone to the typical verses we go to. He's just going to the basic ones. You know what I mean? There's levels to competition as well, and there's definitely things that we haven't even brought out yet. You know what I mean? Because brothers, there's like I said, there's levels to every debater, and this dude's on a level.
He said it's a Psalm of David, and I agree, it is a Psalm of David. Let me read this real quick. Okay, perfect. This is 2 Samuel. Here we go. 2 Samuel 2 and 11. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. So David was a king in Judah. That's what the Bible just said. Now, why is that relevant? Why would I even go there? Because of this right here. Jeremiah 8 and 1. Remember, everybody, David was a king of Judah.
Wait a minute. Let's rewind that a little bit.
Thou shalt
rewind it. See the point of contention.
Idolatry. According to Micah chapter 5, when this takes place, verse 13, thy graven images also I will cut off, and thy stamming images out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands. Did we still practice idolatry after Hezekiah? If the answer is yes, then this can't be Hezekiah. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. So he's been debunked there. Now let me go to another thing he talked about in the book of Psalms. He said it's a Psalm of David, and I agree, it is a Psalm of David. Let me read this real quick. Okay, perfect. This is 2 Samuel. Here we go. 2 Samuel 2 and 11. And the time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. So David was a king in Judah. That's what the Bible just said. Now, why is that relevant? Why would I even go there? Because of this right here. Jeremiah 8 and 1. Remember, everybody, David was a king of Judah. Jeremiah 8 and 1. At that time, saith the Lord, they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, that would include David, and the bones of his princes, and the bones of the priests, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves, and they shall spread them before the sun. So what happened was our enemies came in and desecrated our graves, specifically of our kings. That would include David. That means David's body turned into a skeleton. But according to Psalm chapter 16, verse 10, whoever this is fulfilled in, it said his body would not see corruption. When you look at corruption, let's just pull it up real quick. Let's take a look. at the lexicon. Pull it up real quick. Give me a second, everybody. Okay. Boom. Right. When you look at that word corruption, it literally means you go to the Thayer's lexicon. Watch this, everybody. And this is why I said, speaking, because we're talking about a dead body right now. And this brother is about to be a dead body. Watch this. So this is Psalm chapter 16, verse 10. And this is the word there for corruption. And it says, I'm reading it, the destruction which is affected by the decay of the body after death. If King David's, we can see in the Bible, the
2
kings of
minutes.
Judah's bones
2
were
minutes.
spread all over the place. That can't be talking about David, because according to this, whoever this is talking about, his body wouldn't decay, but David's body turned into a skeleton. And again, I want to really emphasize, this brother put his foot in his mouth speaking about dual fulfillment, because he just admitted that Zechariah 12 and 10 had a double application. So don't, throughout the rest of this debate, don't let him try to get away with that. You said I had 2 minutes left. Okay. Now, what else did he say? I'm trying to remember what he said. Okay. So he spoke about, I think, when he went to Zechariah 12. Perfect. Yeah. Zechariah 12. And again, he cut himself. When it says in Zechariah chapter 12, verse, let me pull it up real quick. Zechariah 12, it says, Jerusalem will be made a burdensome stone to the inhabitants of the earth. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces. Meaning anybody, all the nations of the earth are going to come to war with us in that day. But everybody who tries to fight against us is going to be destroyed. But he's saying in verse 10, someone's going to die. No, it doesn't say that. It says the exact opposite. Anybody who tries to mess with us is going to be killed. So why does it say in verse 10, and they shall look upon him whom they have pierced? It's very simple. Because Christ was pierced, and he showed himself, for example, in John chapter 20, like 22 on down, he showed his wounds to Thomas. He's going to do the same exact thing in that day. That's all that means. Is that my time?
Easy.
No? Okay, let me finish real quick. Again, because it says he will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone. Who is that chief cornerstone in Psalm chapter 118, verse 22? All of Israel is going to be like a cornerstone or a stone, but Christ is that chief cornerstone who's going to be doing destruction, going back to Micah chapter 5. Very simple. Why does it say Assyrian? Last two verses. This is Isaiah chapter 10, and I'm going to start at Isaiah 10. And where is it? Okay, Isaiah chapter 10, verse 5. Within the context of Isaiah, the Assyrians are coming against us. That's why Isaiah 10 and 5 says, "O Assyrian, the rod of my anger." So within that,
Time.
all right.
All right, time. Another good round. We've been having some great rounds by the brothers Gadar and Hassad. So now we're going to move to the 20-minute hot seat. The 20-minute hot seat. The brother Gadar will put Hassad on the hot seat first. Again, I'm going to go over the rules just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Gadar will be questioning Hassad for 20 straight minutes. Yoshiyahu will unmic to say when there is 10 minutes left in the round, and he will also unmute to say time. The brother Yawasop is going to be keeping track of the 2 minutes in which Hassad will have to answer the question, should he so choose to do. Again, he doesn't have to take the full 2 minutes, but with every question, there is an allotted 2-minute response. So that's how the 20-minute hot seat will work. The time will start when Gadar asks his first question.
Quick question. Mahalab, did you give him clarity on how the answering would have to be done?
Khan, let me go ahead and do that. If it's a yes or no question, the question must be answered yes or no first, and then you would be allotted that time to respond. You cannot answer the question with a question. There is to be no answering questions with a question. The moderators will make sure that that doesn't happen. This is going to be where the mods kind of come into play, except for except for if there needs to be clarity on the question, and if somebody didn't understand your question, in which we will stop the time and allow the individual to ask the question again without the time being started. That will be the only time you can answer the question with a question to get clarity on it. So the mods will make sure that all those rules are being followed. You might hear us interject. Whenever we interject, Yoshiyahu, for whatever reason, just stop the time automatically. Just automatically stop the time so we can get everything straight and continue with the dialogue. All right.
1 second. So the brother who's applying the questionnaire, just make sure you try to phrase it as clear as possible so we won't have many stops or interruptions or technical issues. As well as you want to, when you're answering the questions with an answer, not a question, make sure it's not a rhetorical question either. Try not to throw that back out there because, we'll be getting in there for no reason. So try to watch the rhetorical questions. And when you have the questions that's based on a yes or no, you must answer yes or no, but you will have the space to expound for a maximum of 2 minutes if you would like. But you don't have to. You can just keep it clean, yes or no, and but you will have the space to expound if you would like.
All right, so before I ask my first question, I just want to say, I hope everybody heard the brother. He misquoted me. He lied on me. I did not say Zechariah 12 and 10 had anything to do with due fulfillment. What I said was that person that dies during that battle.
Oh yeah, this is great. This is gonna be good because he gets the question aside first, and it's gonna go back and forth.
In Zechariah 12, they compare it to how the people mourned in the valley of Megiddo, however you say that word, because that's where King Josiah died at in 2 Chronicles 35. If you just know the Bible, you know that's what they're comparing that to. And it says, nevertheless, Josiah would not turn his face from him, but disguised himself, and he might fight with him. And he hearkened not to the words of Necho from the mouth of God, and came to fight in the valley of Megiddo. Right, so this is where Josiah came to fight at. Verse 23, and the archer shot at King Josiah, and the king said to his servants, have me away, for I am sore wounded. And his servants therefore took him out of that chariot and put him in a second chariot that he had, and they brought him to Jerusalem, and he died and was buried in one of the sepulchres of his fathers. And all Judah and Jerusalem mourned for Josiah. So what Zechariah 12 and 10 is telling us that the same way they mourned for Josiah in that valley, that's how that person that comes in that future that dies in that battle, that's how the whole nation is mourning for him. I didn't say anything about due fulfillment. But let's get to this question. So just for clarity, Hassad, do you agree with me that Deuteronomy 18 has been fulfilled already?
It's a whole chapter. Which part?
About the prophet that was risen, because you said you believe in dual prophecy. So I'm trying to.
Well, there's two of them. So which verse specifically?
Okay, let me grab it. Deuteronomy 18, 18 and 15. The prophet that was risen like Moses.
That prophet in Deuteronomy chapter 18 is just in reference to any of the prophets that the Heavenly Father raises up amongst the nation of Israel. For example, Samuel, David, etc.
So is that a yes or no that you believe it was fulfilled?
I mean, I just answered that, didn't I?
Does he know the rules that he has to answer yes or no? Then
Yeah, you have to say yes or no. So once you say
yes,
yes
but
no,
that particular verse 15 was fulfilled several times.
okay, so let's go here real fast. Deuteronomy 18. And when it says right here, when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, does the prophet being risen has anything to do with them going into the land?
You said what verse was that again, brother?
Deuteronomy 18 and 9. When thou come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abomination of those nations. Does the prophet that's being risen has anything to do with the
Young P, what are you talking about, sir? Oh yeah, if you already got a show, then we definitely tuning in. Anyways,
going forth into the land?
Does the prophet have anything to do with the going forth in the land? The prophet is the one that gets raised up to lead Israel in the land, and then going into the land, in the land, in perpetuity. Again, it's not just in reference to Samuel, it's in reference to Isaiah, Ezekiel, etc.
Okay, so can you show me book, chapter, verse of Yahushua or Jesus leading the children of Israel into the land of Canaan?
Sure. This is Jeremiah chapter 23. And matter of fact, yeah, I'm going to get two scriptures. I have 2 minutes to answer this, so I'll get Jeremiah 23. And this is why it's important in verse 18. It said, a prophet like unto Moses. What did Moses do? Moses led the nation of Israel out of the land of their captivity, then into the promised land. That is why Christ is the prophet that's like unto Moses. He's going to deliver us from the land of our captivity into the promised land. 2 scriptures real quick. Jeremiah 23:5. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days, Judah shall be saved, the same way Moses saved Israel back in ancient Egypt. And Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. And then it further elaborates, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that they shall no more say the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country. So what this is letting us know is there will be a Davidic king who would lead the Israelites out of the land of their captivity back into their homeland. Ezekiel 37 speaks of this as well. And let me get that real quick. Ezekiel chapter 37. And for time's sake, I'll just get to the point. Verse 21, it says, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. Who is this? Verse 24, and David my servant, or the Davidic Messiah, shall be king over them. So right there.
As y'all can see, Hassad is a little shaky. Hassad, I asked you, book, chapter, verse of Jesus leading the children of Israel into the land of Canaan. Because to fulfill something, you have to complete it. That's what fulfill means. I didn't ask you to show me a verse you believe Jesus is going to do in the future. So if you're going to say he didn't fulfill it, cool. We can go on to the next question.
Well, it's a nonsense.
You can't interrupt me, Hassad. You have to have some decorum, brother.
Go ahead, brother.
You can't interrupt me.
Yes, sir.
Can you show me book, chapter, verse of Jesus fulfilling what's talked about in Deuteronomy 18? The prophet being risen to lead the children into the land of Canaan like Joshua did. Can you show me that? Book, chapter, verse.
Yes.
You see the problem? This is the problem here. He's trying to make it seem like he's supposed to say something verbatim when Hassad's going through the prophecy. And then obviously his prophetic breakdown isn't going to reference Yahushua because he doesn't believe in him. That's the point. Of course he's not going to say, oh, it doesn't say Yahushua, bro. He's the Messiah. He's the prophesied Messiah. Of course, when prophecies occur, for the most part, there's not one individual that's, being spoken of verbatim, except for in Cyrus, things like that. You know what I mean? But you'll see how he gets refuted in a second.
Proleptically, I just did. The verses again are Jeremiah 23:5 and 6, and Ezekiel 37:21 on down.
Okay, so Hassad didn't show me Jesus fulfilling it, so I'll just
It's in March, brother.
go to my next question. Brother is having issues, I guess. But we can go back to Micah 5. Micah 5. Question. Do you believe Micah 5 is dual fulfillment or strictly about Jesus?
Micah chapter 5, I don't see any dual fulfillment in here.
Okay, great. So who can you show me book, chapter, verse, Jesus fulfilling Micah 5, chapter 5, verse 5? And this man shall be peace when the Assyrian come into our land, when he shall tread in our palaces, then shall we raise against him 7 shepherds and 8 principal men. Can you show me Jesus being the peace when the Assyrians besieged the land?
Now, that's how his side breaks it down. He's going to get cut off at the end, but I'm going to elaborate because he there's only 2 minutes. So I'm going to continue where he gets cut off. So I'm going to continue where he gets cut off at in this particular juncture.
Let me show you right now. So what's important in understanding this prophecy is the same prophecy that we see in Revelation 20 and Ezekiel 38, and it speaks about Gog and Magog and their allies coming into our lands, which, matter of fact, I think for context would definitely need to bring that out. So let me get Ezekiel 38, and let's start at verse, let's see. Okay, Ezekiel 38, and let's start at verse 4. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, this is Gog and Magog and its allies, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Now, why do they have swords? And then it lists their allies afterwards. It says in verse 8, watch this. After many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have always been waste, but is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. You read this scripture again in Revelation. We're going to read it here in 2nd Ezra here in a second. Some prophets say like a storm. Isaiah 59 says when the enemy comes in like a flood. It's just various ways to describe a gang of people coming in to attack the nation of Israel. So the question now begs, he asked me, can I show where Christ is doing this? And, well, why does it say the Assyrian? Well, it's very simple, and let me pull up a scripture to.
This is the point. Why does it say Assyrian here? Because you would think it's just plain old Assyria, but you don't get to it.
Help explain this before I get the account in the book of 2nd Ezra. So we have to understand the historical context of Micah chapter 5. As I demonstrated earlier in the book of Isaiah, who was also prophesying during the time of Hezekiah, the same way we liken Deuteronomy 28:68, Egypt unto bondage, because the Assyrians were coming up against us, we liken them unto the oppressor or a sword, like it says in Isaiah 10:5. I think I read it earlier. The Assyrian is
exactly. Oops.
The rod of his indignation. So why do I bring this up? This is Isaiah 33:18. I'm gonna read it in the King James. It says, "Thy heart shall meditate terror." Where's the
time?
Oh, all
right. So,
would like me to continue?
All right, he got cut off there. Let's go to where he got cut off at real quick. Matter of fact, yeah, I'm gonna go because I know what he was gonna say personally, but I just want to show y'all how we came to that conclusion. And shalom to the sister Tanya, Nalina. I seen Teresa in there earlier. All the good sisters that support. Appreciate y'all. Isaiah 10:5. O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. I will send him against an hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him in charge to take the spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire in the streets. That's why when you go to Micah, who did live around the same time frame, if you do your research, let's just prove that real quick. Because Isaiah lived around what, 740 BC? Micah lived when? 740 BC. He lived the same time frame as Isaiah. And if you know why he's saying Assyria, because at that time, the Assyrians were the only one, they were the world power technically at that time. You know what I mean? And he's making a comparison to Assyria coming to attack Israel in Micah 5, because that's going to be the world power. And he made reference to Ezekiel 38. Why? Because Gog and Magog, who is quote unquote Russia right now, is going to be the world power at that particular time. And that's when it goes into them trying to go into the land of unwalled villages when we get back to the land, and our cities basically still in ruins from the ancient times. And obviously when these new Israelis get taken out of the land by physical warfare and things like that. So it's just a comparison, making a comparison to the world power at the time attacking Israel is no different. So I think he was going to Isaiah, what did he say, Isaiah 33 and 10? Oops. Let me go back actually. What did he say? Let me go back. No, 18. Let me stop there. Let me I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Anthony, what are you talking about? I don't know. Never mind. I'm not gonna say anything about that. Whatever. Anywho, Shalakia. Let me see what Hassad was trying to go in Deuteronomy 33 and 18. Let's just read it real quick. Thine heart shall meditate terror. Where is the scribe? Where is the receiver? Where is he that counted the towers? Thou shalt not see a fierce people, a people of a deeper speech than thou canst perceive, of a stammering tongue that thou canst not understand. Look upon Zion, the city of our solemnities. Thine eyes shall see Jerusalem in quiet habitation, a tabernacle that shall not be taken down. Not one of the stakes thereof shall be removed, neither shall any of the cords thereof be broken. But the glorious Lord will be unto us a place of broad rivers and streams, wherein shall go no galley with oars, neither shall gallant ship pass thereby. For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king, he will save us. So I'm assuming he's referencing these 5 verses here about how the Most High is going to protect us in basically in a time of war. Now, obviously, we know Isaiah is a prophet. This is a prophecy. And I'm just assuming Hassad was going here to reference that this is actually in the same time as that prophecy in Micah 5 about the Assyrians. So let's just go back to the debate. Like I said, I don't want to speculate, but that would be my particular understanding of how he was trying to go to that verse and explain it based on the context of the dialogue.
Brother, to show me Jesus, being the peace when the Assyrians are coming to the land. The brother act like the Assyrians.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
The brother act like the Assyrians never besieged the land, as this never happened. This happened. What are you talking about? And then you went to Ezekiel 38 about Gog and Magog, and talking about the Assyrians. All you're gonna do is read verses 3 through 5. The people that's coming with Gog and Magog is verse 5: Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, and all of them with shield, Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togomer. The Assyrians are not with Gog and Magog. What are you talking about? But all right, whatever.
Like I said, he didn't hear the full breakdown, but he's just looking for verbatim scriptures which that's not how prophecy works. And it's not how we wrote the Bible. Like we use allegories and similitudes and things like that, omers, all that type of stuff in the Bible. But this guy, he's just a surface level debater, I guess.
Let me get to my next question. This brother's doing horrible. But my next question, since you, matter of fact, let's go back to Isaiah 7 because I want to touch on that. Isaiah 7. Are you saying Isaiah 7 is dual prophecy? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, great. Can you show me in the time of Jesus in verse 16? It says, "For before the child should know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings." So you have two kings that's being forsaken. And you have in verse 1, it says the king of Judah, it said Uzziah, the king of Judah, that resin the king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, the king of Israel. Can you show me the king of Israel and the king of Syria being destroyed in the time of Jesus, if this is dual fulfillment?
Well, I think you have a
Yeah, he's beating up a straw man, but Messiah has the answer, of course.
Understanding of dual fulfillment. Dual fulfillment doesn't mean every attribute of this entire chapter is fulfilled in twice. It just means certain principles or context of it are applied or fulfilled with another person. Just like, and for the record, I didn't lie on him. He verbatim said in Zechariah chapter 12, this is talking about Josiah being killed in the valley of Megiddo. So like how you said Josiah being killed in the valley of Megiddo was what Zechariah 12 and 10 was talking about, but not every aspect of it. The same way with Isaiah chapter 7, certain principles of it are applied, but not every aspect of it. So it's a nonsensical question.
Exactly. Nonsense.
Okay, let me touch because you keep lying on me and putting words in my mouth. Zechariah chapter 12, verse 11. "And that day there shall be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hadam, however you say that word, in the valley of Megiddon." This is comparing the mourning of the death of King Josiah to the death of this person in Zechariah 12. I did not say Zechariah 12 was about King Josiah. I need to learn how to listen. But this is horrible. I thought this was gonna be way better than this. But my next question is,
you still have time to quit.
My next oh man. My next question is, all right, I got it. Hosea 11 and 1. It says, "When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt." Is this a prophecy? Yes or no?
No, it's history.
Okay. So when we go to the book of Matthew, chapter 2, and it says, I'm going to start at verse 14. "And when he arose and he took the young child he took the young child and his mother by the night and departed into Egypt, and was there unto the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son." If you agree that that wasn't a prophecy, because it's not a prophecy, it's just history, why is Matthew saying Jesus fulfilled that?
Okay, fair question. So again, when you take a look at even the Greek word fulfill, let me take a look at it. Matter of fact, okay, so let me take a look at the Greek word fulfill in Matthew chapter 5. Okay, let me take a look. Okay, yeah. So one of the definitions that it gives is it's to render, or accomplish, or to preach, to supply, to furnish, influence. All it is a principle, again, being taken. Like, even this is very simple. He said in Zechariah 12, this is the same thing. He tried to say I lied on him, but I didn't. But again, Hosea 11 and 1, the reason why Matthew is doing that, he's just taking a principle of what's going on right here. Let's read Hosea 11 and 1 and just make this very simple. "When Israel was a son, when Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt." Here's why Matthew's doing that, because Christ is the son of God, just like Israel's the son of God, just like we are the sons of God. And he loved them just like he loves Israel. And he went to Egypt and came back. He's doing is taking the same principle of what happened with Israel in Hosea chapter 11, verse 1.
Easy.
In reference to what we went through in Egypt, and using that same principle to talk about the Messiah. That's all he's doing. It's very simple.
You purposely left out definitions in this word here for fulfilled. It says to make full, to fill up, to fill to the full, to cause to be abound, to furnish, to render full, to complete. That's what this means. So this person is saying Jesus fulfilled that, complete that, filled it up. That's what he's saying. And you know and I know is not a prophecy. Just like you know and I know, all the stuff they're doing in this New Testament, and we go back to read it, Deuteronomy 18, all you want to say this dual fulfillment, you know Jesus didn't fulfill none of it. As we just went through this and I showed on my showcase, and you didn't know what you were talking about. So I'm just going to ask one more question. Can you pull me 2 verses or 2 prophecies that Jesus fulfilled that's not dual prophecy, or that's not trying to somehow low-key make a point, but it's not really about him, but it is about him? Show me 2 prophecies that Jesus completed, fulfilled, please.
See how he's trying to word the question? Because he doesn't believe it in the first place. So whatever he brings out, he's not going to agree with. So it just doesn't make sense how the question is worded. But let's see what Azad does.
Isaiah 53 and Psalm 16.
Easy.
You said Isaiah
Easy money.
53 and Psalm 16?
Yeah.
And which
question.
prophecy in Psalm 16 is Jesus fulfilled? Can you show me the prophecy?
Verse 10.
Verse 10. And it says, "For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither suffer thou Holy One to see the pit." You're saying that is what Jesus fulfilled.
Yes.
And you're saying King David, you know this is King David's words, correct?
Yes, I do.
So when King David is saying me and my, you're saying he's prophesying?
Yes.
What makes you get that idea that King David is prophesying here?
You said what? You broke up.
What gives you the idea when King David is talking about himself that he's prophesying here?
Because his body saw corruption. His body decayed. That's how.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah, that's simple. It's just that simple. His body got put in the dirt.
Hit that word. And you went to this word, you went to this definition for corruption. But if you actually go to the word in Hebrew, the word is shakat, a shakath.
Uh-oh.
And it means,
let's see if this is proper.
Means pit or grave. The word corruption is not there, brother. That's your KJV misleading you. The word corruption is not there. The word is shin, chet, tau, shakat. And that means pit or grave. Does not mean corruption. So again, how is this Jesus if King David is speaking about himself?
Okay, well, let me answer it again. Let me pull up the Hebrew word, shahat, I believe is the word, and show you a big mistake that you just made, brother. So let's get the Hebrew word right there in Psalm 16 and 10. And let me find this real quick.
Uh-oh, here comes the dagger.
Okay, Psalm 16 and 10. And let's take a look at this word. All right. Sahat. Now, let me show y'all something. He made a big mistake. Again, in the beginning of my second round, I said I couldn't believe that this went exactly how I thought it was going to go. So let me find this real quick. Okay. So when you take a look at the word shahat, it can mean pit, or it can mean hell, or it can mean grave. Now, he said that's your KJV Christian Bible that's trying to do that. Here's a problem with that. In the Greek Septuagint rendition of Psalm 16 and 10, it says the exact same thing as the King James Version. It says in the Greek Septuagint, "Thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thy Holy One to see corruption." That's what it says in the Greek Septuagint 300 years before there's anything such as even heard of as a Christian. Now, when you look at that word shahat, right? Or it says again, it means to the decaying of a body, the decaying of a body when it's in the tomb or when it's in the grave. So how am I likening that to David? Because his body, as I just proved earlier in Jeremiah 8:1, his skeleton
Time.
were all over the place. So that's how. Very simple.
All right. Good round.
All right. He had his head on the hot seat. Didn't seem like his side was jumping out the chair, you know. So let's see how his side puts him on the hot seat. See how he handles it. And then we'll go on to my lesson a little bit after that.
And now we're going to go to the hot seat from Hassad's angle. All right. So Hassad will be putting Gadol on the hot seat for 20 minutes straight. Same rules apply. The time will start when Hassad asks his first question.
Okay, Gadol, who is Isaiah 53 talking about?
Isaiah 53 is talking about the suffering servant.
Okay, is the nation of Israel? Yes.
What are you doing? I get 22 minutes to answer the question, brother.
Yeah, I wasn't done though.
You asked the question.
Stop the time. So Hassad, he was correct. When you ask a question, make sure if you're not completing with your question, just ask it in full, because when you ask a question and you come to a pause and he starts talking, then he does have that 2 minutes. So if you weren't done with your question, just make sure that you don't come to a pause and you ask your complete question.
Okay. So let me ask you one more time. Gadol, is
the time to
Isaiah
stop?
53
We're going to allow the time to be stopped. Hassad, ask your
Yeah.
full question, and then Gadol will have 2 minutes to respond.
Okay, I got time starts now?
The time will start when you ask your question in full.
Okay, got you, brother. Okay, so Gadol, in Isaiah 53, is the suffering servant the nation of Israel? Yes or no?
Yes, the righteous elect of Israel.
Okay. Has the nation of Israel done?
Whoa. That was just bogus.
Suffering servant the nation of Israel? Yes.
Is the suffering servant nation of Israel?
Yes, the righteous elect of Israel.
The righteous elect of Israel is the suffering servant. Every OT only person says that, but it just doesn't make sense.
Okay. Has the nation of Israel done violence? Yes or no?
Yes, that's why the nation of Israel has been punished. But you have the righteous remnant, you have the righteous people of Israel, and that's the servant. And I can show that. Let's go there real fast. We're gonna go to Isaiah 42, and I'm gonna start it from verse 1. It says, "Behold, my servant, whom I uphold, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up his voice, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto the truth, and he shall not fail nor be discouraged, till he has set judgment in the earth, and the owls await from my law." Now, when you jump down to verse 19, it says, "Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I have sent? Who is blind as he is perfect, and blind as the Lord's servant?" Verse 22, "But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are all hid in prison houses. They are all for a prey, and none delivereth for a spoil, and none saith, restore." So we have this servant who is identified as the people of Israel, and we find that in all the chapters of Isaiah in the servant songs. You get that in Isaiah 44 as well. "Yet hear now, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel, who I have chosen." Right? So we see this over and over, that Israel and the elect of Israel is the servant of the Most High.
Okay, so you're saying in Isaiah 42 and 22 that when it says, "My people are robbed and spoiled, they're all of them hid in prison houses," that's the same suffering servant that's in Isaiah 53, correct? Just want to make sure I understand you.
No, not the second.
You see how ironic it is? He doesn't want to accept the full context of the chapter.
servant in Isaiah 42. You have the first servant in the beginning that's sent to the people that's in the prison houses, and then you have the second servant are the ones in the prison houses. Now, if you go to Isaiah 49, you see who's the one.
What? Oh my God.
Let's pull this. I think it's 49. Yep, Isaiah 49:5. It says, and now, and now saith the Lord that formed me from the womb to be his servant. And we know who's speaking here. This is Isaiah speaking, right? Let's start. I can start back at verse 3. And he said unto me, thou art my servant, O Israel, in whom I will be glorified. And now saith the Lord that formed me from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him. And thou, Israel, be not gathered. And yet, get some water. And yet shall I be glorious in the eyes of the Lord, and my God shall be my strength. And he said, it is a light thing that thou shalt be my servant to raise up the tribes of Jacob. So you see that this specific servant right here is this is Isaiah telling you that he was the one sent to the Jacob and Israel. Just like in chapter 44, we see this first servant, which is the elect. And Isaiah is one of those elect that they were sent as prophets to the people to gather them out of those places. So you see there are those exactly two servants in that chapter.
Okay, so when you read Isaiah 45:4, for Jacob my servant's sake, who is that right there? Would you agree that that's the whole nation of Israel? Jacob my servant's sake?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it says, and Israel mine elect. So your attempt to try to juxtapose the elect of the nation of Israel from the rest of Israel is mute. So your whole premise in Isaiah 53 of it talking about, well, not the whole nation of Israel, but the elect or the righteous within Israel, it's just defeated itself. But I can see where this is going. We can revisit that. You believe in Micah chapter 5 and verse 2 that is Hezekiah. Can you substantiate anywhere in the Bible or history that Hezekiah was born out of Bethlehem Ephratah? And can you explain what it means that his goings forth have been from old of everlasting?
Oh my goodness. This is where it gets crazy. Let's rewind the question one more time, family. Because this is where it gets real shaky and he starts getting real carnal. Let's just rewind it one more time because this is about to be real hilarious.
Or history, and we can revisit that. You believe in Micah chapter 5 and verse 2 that is Hezekiah. Can you substantiate anywhere in the Bible or history that Hezekiah was born out of Bethlehem Ephratah? And
that's the first question. Can you prove Hezekiah was born in Bethlehem Ephratah?
Can you explain what it means that his goings forth have been from old of everlasting?
Yeah, that's the next question. How is his goings forth from everlasting as a mere mortal and king of his, I guess you can say he was a king at that time.
Yep, no problem, right? So let me pull this up for you and grab this verse for you. Grab it. This is 1 Samuel 17, I think it is. Let me make sure. 1 Samuel 17. Is it 1 Samuel 17? Oh, yep. Now David was the son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah. So, and we know that when you have that "ite" at the end of a word, that's a people. So we see these people that was in the land of Ephratah, they were a people, and Jesse was one of them. So Jesse was one of them, David was one of them, and the lineage of the kings came from that people, right? So
whoa, let's rewind that. See if that makes sense.
So, and we know is 1 Samuel 17, I think it is. Let me make sure. 1 Samuel 17. Is it 1 Samuel 17? Oh, yep. Now David was the son of that Ephrathite of Bethlehem, Judah. So, and we know that when you have that "ite" at the end of a word, that's a people. So we see these people that was in the land of Ephratah, they were a people, and Jesse was one of them. So Jesse was one of them, David was one of them, and the lineage of the kings came from that people, right? So Micah 5 is not telling you that this person had to be born in that land. it's telling you that that person had to come from that specific clan, right? Because it says, "But thou, Bethlehem Ephrathah, thou be little amongst the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall come forth unto me to be a ruler in Israel." So it's talking about a person that comes out that clan that's little amongst the thousands of the Judites. And we see Jesse, the father of David, was the Ephrathite. That makes David the Ephrathite. I'm gonna mess up that word. You know, all the way to Solomon, all the way to Hezekiah, right? So we see that Hezekiah was from
Filibuster.
that tribe because he came from Jesse. And when it talks about from of old to everlasting, it's just talking about the person that bloodline goes back all the way to Adam. And we see Hezekiah has that bloodline. He goes back to Jesse, the Ephrathite from that clan. And he goes all the way back to Seth, all the way back such and such. So that's what that's speaking about there, brother.
So you're saying chapter 5 when it says, "Whose goings forth."
All right, this is he's gonna stick to this point. Hassai's not gonna let him move.
Have been of old, of everlasting. That means going back to Adam.
Correct.
Okay, what would do all people on the earth today go back to Adam? Yes or no?
Do all people on the earth go back to Adam? Yes.
So what are you talking about?
Okay, so what the hell would be the significance of even mentioning that this person comes from Adam if all people go back to Adam?
That's why they put in there that clan of the Ephrathah.
I'm not asking you about that. I'm asking you about going forth have been of old, of everlasting.
Are you gonna let me answer your question, or are you gonna keep?
Yeah, I'm gonna take you know what question you're answering though.
Y'all letting him break the rules? Like this is what we doing up here?
How am I breaking the rules?
See how they're trying to complain? He knows you don't have the answer.
Stop the time.
Because when you ask
a
a question, I'm supposed to be able to speak. I didn't do that to you.
But you're not
Stop
answering the question.
Stop the time. All right.
I know you frustrated, bro. Relax.
Stop the time.
Why would I be frustrated?
I'm
embarrassed.
Both of y'all mute. Both of y'all mute.
Go on mute. All right. So again, let's go one question at a time. All right. One question at a time. And then the brother Gadol gets 2 minutes to answer the question unless he stops his answer, right? Because sometimes it is a little bit shaky. And I'm going to say it again from the opposite end. Gadol, when you stop responding, right? When you come to that pause, Hassai can ask another question.
I didn't stop, Halab. He cut me off.
I'm just.
He's not saying that.
Listen, I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it so it can be said.
That's all.
Yeah, I'm just saying it so it can be said. I didn't say who did what. I didn't say, who didn't do what. That's not my job. It's just to bring clarity, all right? Because it was a little brush up. So Hassai, just ask one clean question at a time. Salakia Gadol, you give a clean answer. When you pause, right, when you stop, then Hassai can ask another question. That's how it's going to work. So Hassai, you can re-ask your question, and then we can move forward.
Okay, I'll ask this, and I gotta get back to my next question. So, when you read Micah chapter 5, and it says, "This man from Bethlehem Ephrathah is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from of everlasting." The brother's attempting to make the statement that it's simply in reference to going back to Adam, but everybody goes back to Adam, so there's no point even making that statement. So again, I'm going to ask you, why would the author say whose goings forth have been of old, Kodam, Yawam, everlasting? Why is he saying that?
Because he's just letting you know this king, this person is going to have that bloodline that goes all the way back. And we know this because all you have to do is read this chapter.
You see how he's answering? Just read the chapter. Nigga, no. It doesn't say nothing about that in the rest of the chapter.
All you have to do, you don't have to try to break down no verses. All you have to do is read this chapter in which our brother.
Don't break down the verses, just read it. Bro, what do you just broke it down. But it's wrong. What's wrong with this guy?
Don't do. You stop right here. I just pointed out to you that the Ephrathite is a clan that takes him back to Jesse. The going forth is of old. It's just telling me this guy got that bloodline that goes all the way back to our ancient ancestors. That's what this is talking about. Then when we continue to read this, all you have to do is read it. Is only one king in Israel, one king, not Israel, in Judah, that was the peace when the Assyrians came into the land. It's only one, and that was Hezekiah. Hezekiah is that Ephrathite. I can never get that word right because he's from Jesse. He has that bloodline that goes all the way back to the ancient relatives. He's that
Bro, see how stupid this nigga sounds?
king that was the ruler in Israel. This is what this is talking about. You
Okay.
can have the mic.
Okay, so in Psalm 16 and 10, you asserted that because I used a translation that said corruption, that's your new Christian Bible. So can you read Job 17 and 14 and tell me what the Hebrew word for corruption is right there?
Job 17 and 14?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me get there.
Uh-oh. It's going to get scary now.
And just real quick, too, am I interrupting you? What version of the Bible do you read? Do you read JPS?
I'm on my Bible app right now. I'm not sure what version this is. I'm on the Hebrew Bible app. You said Job 17 and 4?
17 and 14, and tell me what the
17 and 14.
And the Hebrew word is for corruption.
It says
10 minutes.
If I have said to corruption, thou art my father, to the worm, thou art my mother and my sister. And the Hebrew word for there is, the way it's translated is la shachaf. La shachaf. That's that word there.
Okay, so he just proved that the word shahat can mean corruption. Even in the Hebrew Bible that he's reading, it's rendered
Cut himself
as corruption in Job 17 and 14. So going back to Psalm chapter 16, verse 10, when King David uses that same word for corruption, sahat, in Psalm 16 and 10, for thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thy Holy One to see sahat, or corruption. Can you explain how this King David can say this when his body, his skeletal remains were spread across the whole planet Earth? And sahat means corruption.
And the way a word is translated does not.
Yikes. Let's listen to that question again.
King David can say this when his body, his skeletal remains were spread across the whole planet Earth. And sahat means corruption.
And the way a word is translated does not give it the meaning. So you see words are translated certain ways all through the text, but when you go to that word, you get the meaning of it. In Psalm 16 and 10, they're not, at least in my translation, it doesn't have corruption there. So, and when we read Psalm 16, you see King David is giving praise to the Most High for keeping him safe and keeping him happy, right? So I'm just want to read a couple verses. It says in the line, make sure I'm in the right place. Yep. It says, let me start at verse 5. It says, O Lord, my portion of my inheritance and of my cup, thou maintainest my lot. The lines are fallen unto me in pleasant places. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. I will bless the Lord who have given me counsel. Yea, in the night seasons, my reins instruct me. I have set the Lord always before me. Surely he is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. Therefore, my heart is glad, my glory rejoices, my flesh also dwelleth in safety. So we see King David is literally just giving the Most High praise for keeping him safely. And remember, this is a Psalms, so this is a metaphoric language. It's a song. Like Hassan should know that he'll want to be rapper, right? So it says, "For thou wilt not abandon my soul to the netherworld, neither wilt thou suffer thy goodly one to see the pit. Thou makest me know the path of life." So this is David at the time giving praise to the Most High for keeping him safe, stand by his right hand. This is not talking about Christ. But, these brothers take the Bible and do what they want with it. And this is why, they in a false doctrine.
Wow, he didn't answer the question at all. That's fine. I trust the audience that they can see. So let's go back to Micah chapter 5. Yes or no, do you believe all of Micah chapter 5 was fulfilled?
Yes.
In heaven.
Whoa. That was a fast answer. Let's see if he corrects it.
Okay, he says yes. Okay, it's about to get spooky. Micah chapter 5, and let's start at verse 11. It says, I will cut off witchcrafts out of thy hands, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. And I will cut off thy graven images and thy pillars out of the midst of thee.
Mind you, Micah is writing this in 740 BC. Before we even went to Babylon, before any other major captivities. So let's just rewind it a little bit because read along with the side.
It's about to get spooky. Micah chapter 5, and let's start at verse 11. It says, I will cut off witchcrafts out of thy hands, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. And I will cut off thy graven images and thy pillars out of the midst of thee, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands. Yes or no, Gadol? After Hezekiah, did our ancestors commit idolatry?
Yes, and the problem you're having with it
Oh my God. Why'd you say it was fulfilled then?
is you're reading this verse and you're taking it as if the Most High is telling you, no, after this, no more forever, never again. That's not what that text says. It's just telling you when this person come, and you know throughout the days of Hezekiah, they did not do that. Hezekiah stopped all that. Everything in this chapter he did. He brought the remnant of his brothers back to Israel to keep the Passover. He cut down all this stuff, and in the time of Hezekiah, they didn't do that stuff. That's all this verse is saying. But you're putting your bad understanding on it, your ridiculousness on it, and try to make the text say something it doesn't say. And that's the issue you're having, because you still can't explain without the ridiculous response you gave how this is Jesus when it's literally talking about the Assyrians. So again, yes, this was fulfilled. All you got to do is read like Isaiah 36, 2 Chronicles 32, and you see it. You literally see it in the Bible itself. But hey,
again, for the record, the Isaiah or Micah chapter 5, it says again, I will cut off witchcrafts out of thy hands. Then it goes on to say, thou shalt no more, meaning it won't happen anymore. It's what it says. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what no more means. It says, and thou shalt no more worship the work of thy hands. So when this takes place, we wouldn't be committing idolatry, but he doesn't want to answer that because it cuts him. So now let me go to another one.
Easy.
I think I'm running a little low on time. So let's go to Psalm 110. I'm pretty sure we all knew we were going to go here. Psalm chapter 110, and it says, the Lord said unto my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. Who is the Adonai, not the Tetragrammaton? Who is the second Lord? The Lord said unto my Lord.
King David.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Who is this a psalm of, sir?
This is a song written by one of David's servants.
See how he playing the game? In Psalm 16, what did it say? He said it's a Psalm of David. Now in Psalms 110, it's the same Psalm of David. It says that, obviously above the verses, but now it's saying somebody else wrote it, but it says the Psalm of David. He's playing the game.
About King David.
Can you prove that?
Yes. If we can go to, I'm going to show you another example of a situation like this happening, and we're going to go to Psalms real fast. Psalms. It says, so I'm going to go to Psalms 21. It says, a Psalm of David, right? A Psalm of David. The king shall joy in thy strength, O Lord, and in thy salvation, how greatly shall he rejoice. Thus have given him his heart's desire, and thou hast withholden the request of his lips. Selah. For thou hast preserved him with blessings of goodness, and thou settest a crown of pure gold on his head. So we see this psalm says a psalm of David, and the lamed prefix in the Hebrew could mean 2 or 4. So this psalm, it was written for David. That is not written by David, the same as Psalms 110. So when we go back to Psalms 110, look what it says, and I'm going to show you someone else in the Bible letting us know this is actually about David and not David. It says a psalm of David, or the lamed prefix there, so it could be 2 or 4 David. It's
what?
Psalm to David. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit down at my right hand, and I will make thine enemies a footstool. So I just want to go to 1 Kings 5 real fast, and let's see what this person says about this. 1 Kings 5, and I'm going to start at verse 2. And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, thou knowest how David my father could not build an house unto the name of the Lord his God, for the wars which were round about him on every side, until the Lord put them under the soles of his feet. So we have Solomon, King David's son, letting us know that Psalms 110 is actually about David, the Most High putting his enemies under his feet.
Okay, how much? I don't get to know how much time I have left.
No.
All right, that's fine. I don't know how much time I got left, so I'm gonna ask one more question. Numbers 24 and 17. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab and destroy all the children of Sheth. Now, Sheth is the second son of Adam. He comes back. We all go back to Seth. So I want you to explain to me, who is the star that comes out of Jacob that destroys all the children of Sheth, and we all come from Sheth? So explain that, please.
Give me that book, chapter, and verse again. My bad.
Numbers 24 and 17. And please elaborate how this person will destroy all the children of Sheth.
Numbers 24 and 17. Let me grab this real fast.
Let's see if he can just wing it or be real.
You said Numbers 24 and 17?
Yeah.
All right, let me read this real fast. I shall see him, but now I shall behold him, but nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy the children of Seth. And Edom shall be a possession of Seir, and also be a possession of his enemies, and Israel shall do violently. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and he shall destroy him that remained of the city. And when he looked on Amalek, he took him upon his parable and said, Amalek was the first sight of the nations. If I had to, because I'm not really sure, if I had to assume, it sounds like this is a messianic prophecy.
Okay.
Oh, he's correct, but he doesn't have who the Messiah is. But sure.
Okay. Do you know who it is?
No.
Okay. For the record, he does not know who it is, and I think that's the reoccurring theme of this. Again, when we go to these messianic prophecies, like, let me ask one more. Jeremiah 23 and 5, when it says,
"Oh yeah, this is where it gets hilarious."
Let me read this last probably question. And again, for the record, he doesn't know who Numbers 24 is talking about. Jeremiah 23 and 5. Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch. Can you tell us who that is?
Yes, that's Zerubbabel. And I'm going to show you if we go.
What?
Go to.
I forgot he said that. Oh my God.
Let's go. I think that's Zechariah. Let's pull this up real fast, because the Most High told us who his branch is. So we just go to Zechariah 6, and I'm going to start at 6 and 12. It says, and the Lord said unto him, thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, behold, the man whose name is the branch, he shall grow up in this place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord. So we see the
time. That's time. Great debate. So that will be the end of the official debate. So now,
all right, they get a little more time, so we're gonna play it. You know what I mean? But watch how hilarious his last part get with the same verse. So he'll talk about the same verse.
Corey, you got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm
the end
gonna
of the
jump in there right quick, Mahalab, if you don't mind. I think the brothers did an excellent job on both sides. Usually right here, points are still on the table, where we open up an informal space for brothers to actually build together, both unmuted, really no structured rules, just allowing each other to land, at the end of the sentence. No structured rules, just an open time frame. If both of you guys elect to continue to have a conversation, you can actually elect the time, whether that's 5 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. It'll be based on both of you guys. So before we invite anybody up to ask any questions, so what do you guys think, Hassad, Gadal?
I'm cool for a little bit. I don't know about the brother, but I'll be cool.
How much time y'all think?
I'll stay around as long as Hassad stay around.
How much time you good for, Hassad?
We'll look at probably 15 minutes and see where we are.
All
right, good
that
deal.
sounds good, everybody?
Yeah, so let's they're good with it. So we'll go 15 minutes, just Hassad and Gadal. The only major rule is allow each other to land, and biblical integrity, do not quote or make reference to any the Bible without citing book, chapter, verse. That way we can all get there and follow you guys. So we'll have that 15 minutes, and then after that we may bring up a few people from the audience to pose questions to each side. Other than that, both of you brothers can unmute or one muted at a time. It really don't matter. We'll stay up and we'll just jump in just to kind of help you guys untangle yourselves if we feel need be. But of course, you men, so we'll kind of allow you to do it at first. But then, if y'all need it, then we'll jump in. I yield.
Okay, so I kind of want to finish Jeremiah 23, and I'm gonna keep reading down because the brother said it was Zerubbabel.
Oh yeah, let me answer that. I wouldn't finish answering that. So
Yeah,
we doing another round?
Read it real quick.
It's just an open bill, so just kind of, he said he wanted to continue. He was the first one to speak. Let him read, and then ask you a question, and then you can just take your time and answer.
Oh, okay. So when it says in verse 6, specifically in Jeremiah 23, in his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel, the northern kingdom, shall dwell safely. Zerubbabel is around the time of Babylon. Can you show me the northern kingdom as a whole? I'm not talking about certain individuals or a few people. Can you show me the northern kingdom as a whole around the time with Zerubbabel, around the time of Zerubbabel?
Yeah, we can go to Ezra. Let's go there. Ezra 6.
Yikes! It's already bad.
And I'm gonna start at verse 16. It says, "And the children of Israel, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of the children of the captivity, kept the dedication of this house of the God with joy, and offered at the dedication of this house of God 100 bullocks, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and for a sin offering for all Israel, 12 he goats, according to the number of the tribes of Israel." Excuse me. And they set the priests in their divisions and the Levites in their courts for the service of God, which is at Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses. And the children of the captivity kept the Passover upon the 14th day of the first month. For the priests, the Levites, were purified together, and all of them were pure, and killed the Passover for all the children of the captivity, for their brethren, the priests, and for themselves. And the children of Israel, which were come again out of captivity. So, quick question to you, Hassad. When the Bible says the children of Israel, is it referring to just the northern kingdom, just the southern kingdom, or both together?
It depends on the context.
Okay, so let me just get it. So after the split of the kingdoms, we went to, when it says children of Israel, we know it was northern. When it says the house of Israel, we know it was the northern kingdom. House of Judah, we know it was the southern kingdom. After the split, when does it refer to all the children as the children of Israel?
You saying after the split of Rehoboam, when is it referred to us as the children of Israel?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get that real quick.
And show me when it's referring to the children of Israel that is not referring to both houses.
Okay, what was your second?
Let's see if you can do it.
Question.
Because you said it's the context. So from my understanding, when it says children of Israel, it's talking about both houses. So I guess you're going to show me a verse where it's calling them the children of Israel and it's not referring to both houses.
Okay, got you. So let me show you this. Hosea chapter 1. This is it says okay, boom. Hosea chapter 1, verse 2. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, the children of Israel, you are not my people, there shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living God. Then look what it says in verse 11. Then the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head. So there's one right there. What was your second question?
My next question, all right, good one. My next question would be, let me go back to Ezra 6.
And after you're done with this, I want to address that Ezra 6 and go back to Jeremiah 23.
All right, so Ezra, what I was saying. All right, verse 22. And it says, and to keep the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with joy, for the Lord have made them a joyful and turned the heart of the king of Assyria unto them. Who's the king of Assyria right there? And was the southern kingdom in the Assyrian captivity?
What verse again was that?
Verse 22.
And what
Ezra 6.
Why would he say? Oh my God.
Ezra. Let me take a look. I believe it was Cyrus or Darius.
And why is he called the king of Assyria though? Because we know this. They coming out of Babylon. Was the northern kingdom coming out of Babylon with them?
No, and let me prove that real quick. This is Ezra chapter 1. We're going to stay in the same book of Ezra, matter of fact. Ezra chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 5. It says, I'm going to start at verse 2, matter of fact. Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia. I'm going to start, matter of fact, verse 1. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord might, by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom. He said this to his entire kingdom and put it also in writing, saying, Thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all his people? Again, he proclaims this to his entire kingdom, and he says, who amongst you guys, out of all of you, and let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the house of the Lord God of Israel. Now let's see who comes. Verse 5. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah, Benjamin, and the priests, this would be the sons of Aaron, and the Levites. So you have Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, with all them whose spirit God had raised to go build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. This is Ezra right after the Babylonian exile. We return home, and who's there? Who rises up? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Why? Because the northern kingdom is not there as a whole.
So they rose up to build a house. That's not saying that's all the people that came out of captivity. Those are the ones that was chosen to build the house.
Bro, they weren't chosen. They were called to come out from all the lands that the Syrians were captive or ruling over to go back to Israel. Why wouldn't they want to go back to Israel? They weren't called. They were advised, hey, if you're out there as a Jew or Israelite, go back and build a temple.
So why did those three
But
tribes rise?
my question was because we see that the king of King Cyrus, he took over everything the Babylonians had, and the Babylonians took over everything the Assyrians had. And this is why, like you said, Cyrus was called the king of Syria, because once they take over this stuff, they would take the title king of Babylon, king of Assyria, king of the four corners. So this is why. So the northern kingdom, yes, was in Assyrian captivity. The Babylons took them over, took everything they had, even their captives.
So why
yes,
did
the Assyrian, so yes, the northern kingdom was in Babylonian captivity. Yes, the Persians took them over.
That in Ezra 1?
You just read about who was risen to build the house.
Yeah, so again, why didn't the northern kingdom come to build the house?
I don't know. You can't ask me that, but you
can't ask me that. I don't know. But they weren't there. That's the point.
You're not reading.
Okay. Again,
for
the record, he doesn't know.
You didn't read about who was in the captivity. You read who was chosen to build the house. And you went there.
Who the people that were out of the captivity. And he made this proclamation throughout all his kingdoms. Again.
Are you going to let me finish speaking?
Well, yeah.
I know you're trying to save face because you got embarrassed, but let me just finish. Let me just finish speaking.
Hold on, brother. I'm gonna let you go, but again,
I'm going. You're not gonna let me go. I'm going right now. So just
ask you a question. You answer.
I'm trying to answer.
Yo,
Hassad, you gotta relax. Calm down. I know you're embarrassed, bro. But
only
relax. Let me finish. Let me just finish real fast. Just have some decorum. Let me just finish.
Explain why only Judah, Levi went up to that house.
So he just literally read that Levi, Benjamin, Judah were the tribes that was risen to build the temple, not that they were the only ones in captivity. So we just read in Ezra 6 that Cyrus was called the king of Assyria because they took over all the land. So yes, the northern kingdom that was in Assyria, when Babylon took over, they that's like if Russia take over America right now, we're going to be under the Russian government. We're still going to be in this land of exile. That's the same thing that happened then. The Babylons came and took over. So all they did was transfer from under Assyrian captivity to Babylon captivity. But we see.
But the northern kingdom wasn't in Babylon, obviously.
In Ezra 6, that they gave a sacrifice for all 12 tribes. one, and then Cyrus is called the king of Assyria because he had the possessions of the Assyrians, right? So let me ask another question real fast.
I gotta ask.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So again, he says he doesn't know the answer for why in Ezra chapter 1. And again, yes, I agree. Babylon took over Assyria. And again, though, Cyrus made a proclamation throughout his entire kingdom. That means the northern kingdom, if they were there, they would have surely heard this, decided not to go and not build the temple with Judah. So he doesn't know an answer for that. Now, let me read this real quick. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 15. And I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brethren, even the whole seed of Ephraim. So no, they weren't there. They were casted out of the Lord's sight. They weren't there with Judah when they went into Babylon, and they weren't with Judah after they came out of Babylon. Now, going back to Jeremiah 23, here's the main question I want to ask, because the brother said that it's Zerubbabel. And Jeremiah 23:6, in his days Judah shall be saved. And
oh yeah, this is the worst part. This is actually the worst part of the debate for him.
When they went into Babylon, and they weren't with Judah after they came out of Babylon. Now, going back to Jeremiah 23, here's the main question I want to ask, because the brother said that it's Zerubbabel. And Jeremiah 23:6, in his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. Now, speaking about the chronology of Israel returning back out of exile from Babylon into Persia, how are they dwelling safely when the same time of Ezra, Nehemiah, Zerubbabel, Nehemiah says in Ezra chapter 9, verse 37, it says, verse 36, behold, we are servants this day and for the land that thou gavest unto our fathers to eat the fruit thereof and the good thereof. Behold, we are slaves in it. How, according to Jeremiah chapter 23, again, Jeremiah 23 says that Israel and Judah are going to dwell safely and are going to be saved. But you're saying Zerubbabel fulfilled this, but during the time of Zerubbabel, the people of that time said that they're in slavery. Can you please explain that?
Watch this. Watch how you try to explain it. Now he becomes a Christian. Try to explain this away.
Again, I didn't say Zerubbabel is the branch. The Bible says Zerubbabel is the branch. So let me go this again, because I didn't even get a chance to do it. And Zechariah 6, and I'm starting at verse 12. And it says, and speak unto him, saying, thus speak the Lord of hosts, saying, behold, the man whose name is the branch, and he shall grow up out of his place, and he shall build the temple of the Lord. Even he shall build the temple of the Lord, and he shall build the glory, and shall sit and rule upon the throne, and he shall, and the priest shall be before his throne, and counsel of peace shall be between them both. Right. So now, if we go right here to, I think that's Zechariah. Zechariah 3. Look what it says. It says, hear now, O Joshua the high priest, and thy followers that sit before me, for they are men wondered for. Behold, I will bring forth my servant the branch. For behold, the stone that I have laid before Joshua, upon one stone shall be 7 eyes, and such. So we see that Joshua is told that the branch will be risen to him. And we also saw that the branch would build the temple, right? So let's go to Zechariah 4. I'm going to start at verse 5. And then the angel that talked with me answered and said unto me, knowest that thou not what these be? And I said, no, my Lord. Then he answered and spoke unto
Filibustering again. He's not answering the question. It's not going to call him out.
me, saying, this is the word of the Lord unto Zerubbabel, saying, not by might, nor by power, but by spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. But by my spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. Who art thou, O great mountain? Before Zerubbabel, thou shalt become a great plan. He shall bring forth the headstone thereof with crying spirits. With shouting, crying, and grace unto it. Moreover, the Lord came unto me, saying again, the hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of his house, and his hands also shall finish it. And thou shalt know the Lord of hosts has sent me unto you. So we see the Most High lets us know that Zerubbabel is his branch, that he rose up to Joshua,
Besides, like, you filibustering. Now you just talking. Can't answer the question.
That branch, Zerubbabel was that branch that built that temple Zerubbabel was that branch that him and Joshua will have peace between them two upon the throne and upon in the
Brother, what the hell are you talking about? This has nothing to do with
are you gonna why you keep interrupting me, dude?
No, because you're not answering the question. I didn't ask you
yo,
about building the temple.
I'm showing you who the branch is. Just sit back and learn something.
No,
shut up.
Again, the question is
How
how
did
did Israel and
Judah
Judah dwell safely if they're in slavery?
Just mute real quick.
Answer the question.
I got you. Just hold on. All right.
Dude, it's horrible. He's supposed to be the leader, but can't even control himself.
Stop.
Hold on,
you gotta.
You're showing you can't control yourself.
But y'all not saying nothing to him.
Be quiet.
Hold on, 1 second. Dog, let us speak. We're not arguing.
Thank you.
Thank
you. All right. So, the dog, you were long-winded, and this is a back and forth. So there can be times where he butts in. It's not that hard to understand this. All right. So I'm just trying to moderate the debate. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, you did.
Debate
I
over.
will say this.
Hold on.
Debate over.
Yeah,
Hold on. I'm not
You want to get the debate over because you know he's fried.
done.
Yeah, go ahead.
Talking.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
I appreciate
I
that.
just want to hold on. Let me say this right quick. Yo.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just the moderators is speaking right now. Just to give you clarity, there was a space for the formal debate that already took place. This is informal. So this area right here is a literal spar fest. That's all it is. You take space, you allow each other to land, but after that, when you guys get tangled up, we're gonna let you hash it out. We're actually learning from the experience. Other than that, we're gonna jump in just like we just did. That was the only time I felt like we should have jumped in. Other than that, it's a sparring test, and you're fighting for space. So you was actually breaking a couple of scriptures down, and then Hassad came back in and fought and took the mic. That's what this space is for. That this is a much more intense space than the hot seat. So the Versus platform was actually doing exactly what it was supposed to do: was sit back and allow you guys to go at it for this time frame. Do you guys feel like y'all got any other points to ask?
Yeah, I got it, Corey. I gotta hammer this point in.
And let me just say this real quick before you do. Let me just say one thing. When you guys are making your points, you just need to make it one time. You don't need to continue to make the same point. All right, I think that's why the brother Hassad was trying to get in there, because you made the point several times and we understood it. So just as you guys continue to go back and
Yeah, that's what he was doing, trying to reiterate a point that doesn't answer the question.
forth,
And he's going to do it again.
You make your point, and then you kind of can move on, kind of say the same thing over and over, because then the other person feels like, all right, we got it. I want to get in there. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, man, hold up. No need for grandstanding. That's not what this.
Yeah, I'm done going back and forth anyway. Y'all, I'm done. I'll lay my point.
Okay, well then, real quick, because
why y'all muting me? Like y'all don't mute him, but y'all muting me.
Yo,
that's crazy.
I just muted myself. That's why. But real quick, what you're attempting to do, Brother Gadal, when faced with a scripture that clearly contradicts your ideology, is go on long rants. And there's another word for it, man. You said grandstanding, Alzar, but it's another word that people do in the Senate when they filibuster. Just going a long filibuster in an attempt to try to just woo the audience because you read a bunch of stuff. No. Answer the direct question. You said Jeremiah 23 that is Zerubbabel. It says in verse 6, in his days, you would be saying Zerubbabel, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. Here's the direct question again for you, brother. Can you please explain how Zerubbabel saved Judah and we dwelled safely, both kingdoms, 1-7, at this same exact time we were in slavery? Please explain that.
I just showed you without a shadow of a doubt the Most High recognizing Zerubbabel.
I'm not arguing that.
I just showed you.
And again,
see how he's trying to just go back to that dumbass point because it cuts him.
I'm not. Let's just say,
bro, shut up and let me.
No, because listen, brother, you're not addressing.
Right, I'm done. I'm done.
He knows he's fried, bro. He knows he's done.
Let's hypothetically say
I'm
Zerubbabel
done, bro.
is the branch.
I'm done.
You don't need to argue with me. That
I'm done, bro.
Anymore.
I'm done.
Let's give you that. Please explain.
That's what I'm about to do. If you just shut the fuck up and let me talk.
And now y'all
Yeah,
keep
go ahead,
muting me.
explain.
Let
No.
me
Go ahead,
talk
bro.
and
Go
let
ahead.
me go. If you just shut up. Thank you.
Hey, real quick, just nobody mute him. Just let him go ahead.
Thank you. So the reason why I wanted to point out and make it why y'all keep muting me?
Hold on.
Because
This
moderators
is
are talking.
this is the
Moderators are
moderators
talking.
talking. Go ahead.
So Salakia, y'all what's up? So this
Yes, sir.
individual could just tell people to shut the fuck up, and that's all right. I just need to know that. That's fine.
No,
and
it's
that's
not
fine.
all right. I'm just not in charge of the decorum aspect of it.
Let me
So-
get in there. My
Go ahead,
bad.
Corey. I was
I'm in
about to say,
traffic.
go
I'm
ahead,
actually
Corey.
trying to throw the Bluetooth stereo on. That's actually my issue because I couldn't hear the last 4 minutes of the interaction. I only heard Allah's question be reiterated. So I apologize on that. I'm not sure what was said. I can only hear what the replay's on. So what was said
This is all telling people do is get frustrated. Like, why get frustrated? We're just talking about the Bible.
again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, he did. And that's my fault as well. I was gonna jump in there. It got a little bit. Now this informal part is a little bit more fiery, so we do kind of allow, ad hoc to a certain degree. But hey, Corey, you got some background if you give me this.
My bad. I'm sorry.
You good? So in this informal spot, that kind of is okay. As long as it's not within the realm of him cutting Hassad off. So I was going to jump in there to say, hey, make sure Hassad, asks his question clean so he can demonstrate what he wants you to answer. I felt like he heard what you were saying and he heard your answer, but he wanted to clarify his question. So when you said just shut the fuck up so he can listen and see what was going on, I was going to jump in there to say, wait, hold on. I feel like Hassad should have been able to, clarify his question. But the actual shut the fuck up, no, I don't have a problem with that in the informal part of the round.
And I will say real quick, Salakia,
if I
go ahead, Kat. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. Yeah, nobody said say shut the fuck up to nobody. The decorum between both parties, whether it's fiery or not, we do have to have a level of respect in the dialogue. I haven't heard Hassad. Now I got here late, but I haven't heard Hassad say anything that warranted the dog saying that to him. It seems more like the dog got a little frustrated and resorted to that type of verbal attack. And that's not, it shouldn't be something that we should have to do. We should have a better way that we can speak to each other. And I believe that's why Gadar was muted. So if you're going to have this bill, and then I believe when Gadar was long-winded in the Hassad cut in that I heard, he did not tell Gadar, shut the fuck. He didn't even do anything derogatory from what I heard. So I don't think it's necessary, even in the fiery bill. I think that's why you got muted, Gadar. So let's just have a better decorum in speaking to each other so we can continue the debate.
Yeah,
So you
that's
guys
all I
are
was
at
gonna
13
say.
minutes.
That's all I was gonna say is that hold on, it's all right with brothers being fiery, but just chill with all the mumbo jumbo, bro. That's it. We grown men up here. But go ahead, continue.
This is hilarious.
Okay, so just for the record again, I'm going to ask my question one more time.
Can I speak now? Because I was the one.
No, I do want
muted.
Hold on. I do think that, like I was saying before, that Hassad should be able to clarify exactly to what he's asking, and this is the last time we're going to ask the question, and Gadal's going to have the space. So if he wants to answer the same way again, cool. But it's really for the audience to decide who answered the question. So Hassad should have the right to clarify the question because he doesn't feel like it was answered properly, and then we'll have Gadal respond.
Okay, so again, for the record, in Jeremiah chapter 23, he believes the branch is Zerubbabel. For the record, I do not agree. That's all right, though. He can have that for now. So again, Gadal, when you respond to this, don't go, oh, see, I'm proving that Zerubbabel's the branch. You can have that. That's fine. I just need you to explain to me how, according to Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 6, if this is Zerubbabel, it says, in his days, Zerubbabel, Judah shall be saved and Israel shall dwell safely. Now, how, according to you, did Zerubbabel have Judah and Israel be saved and dwell safely when around the same exact time of Zerubbabel, in the same exact time as Zerubbabel, according to Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 37, we were in slavery. That is now, audience, that is the direct.
That is the direct question. Let's see what he says next, because this is about to be hilarious.
Direct question, and as he attempts to answer this question, I want you to ask yourselves, is he answering the question? That is the direct question I'm asking you to answer. Gadal, go ahead, brother.
Thank you. And the reason why I keep talking about Zerubbabel, because I have to paint the picture so I can get there. But if y'all don't let me get there and y'all keep interrupting me, it becomes a problem. And you have a bunch of people that I've heard plenty of times talk really rough to people. Now everybody got their tail tucked because I talk rough. But anyway, you see, the Most High chose Zerubbabel to be the one to lead the people out of Babylon captivity.
He's not answering the question. Why were they in slavery if they're supposed to be dwelling in safety under Zerubbabel? He's not answering the question, as you can see again.
Back to the land to establish the temple so that people of Israel can be saved and brought out of Babylon into their own land and where their temple was built. And they dwelt safely in their land. That's what that is talking about, right? You're going to verses where you taking it way out of context. During the time of Zerubbabel, they was not in slavery. They weren't.
They weren't in slavery under Zerubbabel. That's what he said.
This was after the Persians sent them back to the land. They weren't ruled by nobody. So you don't understand what you're talking about. So Zerubbabel was the one chosen to lead them back, him and Joshua the high priest, to establish the temple, and they dwelt there in that land safely up until the damn I think the Maccabee time period. So this is what's happening there. And the reason why I don't try to use my own opinion, because when you disagree with me, you have to disagree with the Bible. Because the Bible, Zechariah tells us who's that branch, who was the one that sat upon the throne, who was the one that was called that prince, the same one that in the book of Ezekiel, that the king in the third temple is called the prince. Zerubbabel was called that. This is about him. He is identified as that. He led them out of Babylon to dwell safely in their land. And just because you dwell safely in the land doesn't mean nothing can happen to you. In the book of Ezekiel,
Oh my God. So going into slavery is well in safety. What's wrong with this dude?
When we go back to the land in the future, we're going to be dwelling safely. But guess what? Gog and Magog is coming to the land to cause havoc on us. So just because you don't understand the Bible don't mean nothing.
Land your plane. And so that has been 15 unless you guys want to keep going.
No,
let me just say,
because y'all are ridiculous up here, bro. The brother's embarrassed and y'all trying to save face for him.
It's all right, man. Go drink some wine, bro. Go cry about it.
Hey, one thing I will say is, real quick, I think the moderation has been fair. So please don't put any shade on moderation, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Bro, y'all let this brother Hassad get away with stuff in this debate that y'all never let anybody get away. And the brother was coming off mic. He was interrupting. Like, he was doing a bunch of that. And usually on other debates, I saw y'all stop that. Yo, you can't do that. No, that's breaking the rules. Y'all let this brother do whatever.
This brother
so
just propagated.
Real, and he still got embarrassed. He still didn't know what he was talking about.
Are we going to let
no questions. All right, so this is what we can do now. We can end it. We're not going to complain about moderation right now. We're in that part of the round. The people, we'll okay. If you want to answer it,
it's gonna take 10 seconds, if that. It won't even take 10 seconds. This brother he's a good house slave for the white man. He just said you can be in slavery and still be safe. That sounds like some shit that pastor would go tell the house nigga to go tell the rest of the slaves.
That's right.
But go ahead.
And then
we gotta give him the 2 minute. We're gonna give him the 2 minute conclusion. Gadal, you actually have the floor first. Conclude. All you have to do is just reintroduce yourself, tell the people your school of thought and what you felt you taught today. And if you have to use a Bible verse or so, that's fine. Just do it within a 2 minute time frame. The floor is yours.
Yeah. So in the debate, I showed in Isaiah 7.
Well, that's pretty much it. That was like I said, that was hilarious to say the least. That last part was just like, come on, bro. Like we can't play these type of games with the Bible and with the historicity of the Bible as well. You know what I mean? It's like we got to be real here. And being real is knowing when to fold them, hold them and fold them. He had to fold his cards. He got cooked. But I've been on almost 3 hours. Dan, out 3 hours. How many verses I got to read? Let me see. Cause I wanted to give a brief little. Okay, I don't have that many left. I'll try to go another 15 minutes or so. Let's just go into it. Counting the cost. I got some verses pulled up. Mostly about counting the cost and, being part of the body of Yahushua. And it's important in these last days, like I said, especially people that think they don't need to congregate and they're out there being individualized and things like that, especially our women. There's women that complain and, whatever the case may be, and it's because they're not around nobody. They don't have any support systems. There's no sisterhood for the most part. Like in SICARII, we have a sisterhood. We have obviously SICARII wives that congregate and not really congregate, but depending on what city you're in, there's obviously wives of Israelite brothers in the camp that are friends and come together because we're one body, one mind in SICARII. I'm just saying overall, even if you're not in the camp, you still should be trying to congregate, build, be held accountable. That's the main thing. You know what I mean? And obviously serving the Most High properly. Like I said, if you don't believe in a particular doctrine per se, that's not necessarily a big issue, but it's just about being held accountable, showing yourself that you're moving forward and growing spiritually as well. And also you're not laboring in vain, with wrong information if that's the case. But counting costs is mainly for, we don't address the men because that's the people that's leading households and taking women to wife and things like that, raising the kids. So you definitely got to do the proper thing because there's definitely been brothers, and I've heard stories in my few years in the truth, brothers just, hitting and quitting and, treating women like whores, whatever the case may be. And there have been whores in Israel as well. Like, it's not abnormal, but men got to partake in that as well. So let's just start here. Luke 14:25. And there went great multitudes with him, obviously talking about Yahushua, and he turned and he said to them, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Now, people are, he said hate his mother and father. No, it's just, if you look at that word in the Greek, it just means love less. Love everything less than the Most High. You know what I mean? That's all it is, because Yahushua put Yahweh first in his doing, because he's literally the only begotten, which, that's a point OT only would disagree with, but like I said, we can prove that as well. And whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you intending to build a tower should have not down first and counted the cost? That's more the topic of the conversation now. Counting the cost, whether you have sufficient to finish it. What's it? Sufficient? The money, the time, the resources. You know what I mean? The skill set. So that's transferable to doing this work. Because we at SICARII, we on the streets, you know what I mean? We out here on the street corners teaching our people week in and week out. It was raining yesterday for the most part. It was a little bit cold. Even though, we in the Bay, it ain't too cold, but it does get cold out here, 40-something degrees. And it's raining right now. Actually, I got to go out in a little bit after this class, do some errands. But either way, I'm saying that to say, counting the cost has to do with knowing what you signed up for. When you in this truth, even if you're not in the camp, you still go through trials and tribulations. That's always going to happen. It's not about feeling one thing one day and waking up the next day and feeling something else. Like, this is our heritage, this is our culture, this is something we have to take to heart. And the Most High chose us to wake up and know this knowledge for a purpose. And you have to treat it accordingly with respect and honor. And obviously love is the main thing. Loving the Most High, loving your brother, and loving your people, loving yourself as well. So that's counting the costs in reference to that. But overall, it's talking about enduring to the end, counting the cost of what it's going to take to endure, the temptation, the trials, the tribulations, the mishaps, the people that are around you that may not support you anymore, that you might lose, relationships that you might forego or might sour over time. Who knows? All that's part of the Most High's will and plan, because His plan is already written. We're just filling that gap. But you got to have that mental strength to realize, okay, the Most High is doing something in my life, whether we feel it's positive or negative. You still got to stay on that narrow road, as Yahweh says. You know what I mean? So let's keep reading. Now, that's what I wanted to say. Excuse me. So when it says what, for which of you intending to build a tower, sit if not down first and count up the cost, whether you have sufficient to finish it. Now, we can also compare this to what? The body of Yahushua as well, because if we're the 1/3, or it's going to be possibly elect, we're part of the body of Yahushua. So He's not going to have no flaws in His body. He's not going to have any mishaps or slip-ups or stubbed toes or missing fingers or whatever the case may be, bruised, sternum and all that type of stuff. It's going to be perfectly fit, joined together. We're going to get into it. And that's what we have to count as well. Being a part of the body of Christ, being with the righteous remnant, as OT only want to say, but we don't know who we are coming back. But as long as we're alive, we're in this truth, we have to be striving for that. You know what I mean? So lest he happily, after he had laid the foundation and is not able to finish, all that behold begin to mock him. So once you come into the truth, like I said, some people come to the truth in relationships. Some people come to the truth with heathen wives and heathen, whatever lovers, whatever you want to call it, men and women. And obviously, some doctrines say, hey, we can't marry heathens. Now, do we say you can't marry heathens? Of course. Is it necessarily a sin? From our stance, only Canaanites aren't to be married. But we definitely don't recommend marrying no damn heathens. And you are allowed to leave them as well. But I'm just saying, you have to say, you're used to a certain family-oriented establishment when your family, even if it's not, even if it is Israelite, women or men can leave and, turn away for the most part. Because there might be Christians, there might be Muslims, they might not even believe in the Bible, and somebody might step into the plate and turn the life over, and their partner doesn't, so they just get up out of there. You know what I mean? So that's counting the cost as well. Let's go back here. The last part, and it says all that behold begin to mock him. So people in the truth are like, damn, that dude lasted a year. He lasted a day or 3 days or a few years. I thought he was solid. Like, what happened? Over time, he just fell away. Now he's in the world, like doing all type of abominable stuff. So I've seen dudes that turned homosexual after the truth. Like, it's crazy. It's just nuts how things unfold, how the Most High works. It is absolutely nuts, and it's a scary thing, and it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the Most High. But that's His will. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that we have to see it from our perspective, but the Most High, like I said, is marking his checkbox off in this thing. Let's keep reading. Saying, less happily, after he laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish, or what king going to make war against another king should have not down first and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 men, or to be 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000. So it's basically talking about wisdom here. What you got to go through to get this goal accomplished. And obviously, as a king in war, you're putting your men on the line to be killed and not come back to their family members, and possibly, lose a war and lose your own kingdom. So that's what it's saying. Like, you got to go to council. Like, hey, we're short-staffed. We have 10,000 people. We got to go into an army of 20,000. What strategy? What reason are we going to war? Actually, no. What reason are we going to war first? Is it something we can move on from peaceably? It's going to say that in a second. Or do we just have to defend ourselves at all costs, or prevent something from happening in the future by going to war with somebody? You know what I mean? Or it might be some get back. Who knows? What's the cost? What's going to happen if we do this? What future ramifications can occur by doing this, by making this decision? You know what I mean? that is all about counting the cost. And obviously, the Most High's will is going to be done, like I said. And I read this. We read this at camp yesterday. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up just real quick. Because this girl, y'all gonna see it in the future. I'm gonna edit the video. The girl was talking about we have free will, but this is Job 33. Let me share this actually real quick. Just real quick. I have like some verses to go into after this. This is only one verse, but I don't want to be too long. I've been on for 3 hours already. Job 33 and 14. For God speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth not. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and we know it's talking about women as well, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction. That's what happens when you go to sleep. Most already has your day planned out, period. That he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. That's what the Most High does. He prevents things from happening and causes things to happen all in the same breath. You know what I mean? Let's go back. I've been on for 3 hours. Sorry. Let me I'm gonna try to run through a couple more verses. I don't want to go for too much long because I do got some errands to run. And this place closes in like an hour and a half, so I gotta prepare for that. Salakia for y'all. Not staying on much longer, but it's been 3 hours. We just watched a debate together. That's pretty much all we did, but we're gonna have more formal lesson next week. Or the other dude wants to debate me on OT or the Messiah, so we'll figure that out if he messages me. Let's finish this. Or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sends an ambassador and desires conditions of peace. So yeah, that's what happened. Do we go to war or do we want peace with this person or this kingdom? Because if we go to war, families are going to be without fathers, possible resources and money. And more importantly, losing a war can lead to, how war was back then. This word spread, oh, this kingdom's weak as hell. We just beat them in war. Now they got to be subject to us, or we got to pay taxes to these people because we lost. Oh, that king, he made the wrong decision. We can't trust him. You know what I mean? The same thing in this truth. This dude made a decision. Oh, man, he set us back 5 years by making a decision financially or with a woman or, anything. Anything that happened. But it all is encompassing the truth. You know what I mean? That's where wisdom comes in. That's where counsel comes in. That's where, like I said, having a body and having people in your ear that you trust to make good decisions or, discern things for you for future reference. You know what I mean? So that's part of being a body as well. So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsake him not all that he have, he cannot be my disciple. Meaning what? You got to dedicate your life to this truth. And obviously, dedicating your life to this truth, more than likely, you're going to be keeping the commandments righteously and with the faith. And then enduring to the end will get you to the kingdom for the most part. Lord willing, if you're of that number. Lord, we all are that number, Lord willing. But let's go back here. I'm going to read a couple more verses. Like I said, I'm going to get off in about 5 minutes. Ephesians 2:19-22. Now, therefore, ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints. Now, a Christian will be, oh, this is talking about Gentiles, but we know it's talking about Israelites that were keeping heathen customs. And of the household of God, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and the prophets, Jesus Christ himself being the chief cornerstone, which is already prophesied, in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth unto a holy temple unto the Lord. So it's talking about the spiritual temple. Now we know heathens are not allowed in the spiritual temple in Revelation 11. The Gentiles are without. That's what it says. So this can't be talking about Gentiles of other nations, like literal other nations and other ethnicities. In whom ye also are built together for an habitation of God through the Spirit. You know what I mean? So spiritually, you're connected, being one mind, being, like I said, the body of Christ, more likely being a part of the 1/3 of the elect, these people are going to be joined together spiritually in one mind in that regard. And obviously, we know the famous verse, 1 Corinthians 3:17. If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are. This, like I said, the spiritual temple. And you have to be a brick in that temple. And that's what Yahushua was going into as well in certain contexts in the New Testament. 1 Corinthians 12:27. Now ye are the body of Christ and members in particular. This is where Paul goes into whether you're the eye, the foot, the finger, the ear, the lips, whatever the case may be, the tongue. Everything has a particular function in the body, whether it's small or great. And that's a good chapter to reference in that context as well. John 2:19. Jesus answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Now this isn't literal. The temple was destroyed, but 3 days, talking about 3,000 years. Within 3,000 years, I will raise it up. Talking about the spiritual temple, which we are, and it goes into that in Zechariah. And I think actually, is it Zechariah? Yeah, it is Zechariah. So, I'm gonna skip down actually. Let me just jump down. Zechariah 5:11. And he said unto me to build in house in the land of Shinar. We know Shinar is in Babylon. And it shall be established and set there upon her own base. Now, when you read this in another translation, it's talking about a temple, and it's obviously talking about Babylon. We know in Babylon we didn't build a temple in Babylon. It's talking about America, which is spiritual Babylon, obviously right now. And this is where the spiritual temple is being built. Ezekiel 43:10. Thou son of man, show the house to the house of Israel, that they may be ashamed of their iniquities. Let them measure the pattern. A reference to a spiritual temple. The elect of the elect, the 1/3, the 1/3, and the 2/3 is still the elect, but they're the other part of the temple, the lower part, not the head and shoulders per se. So that's what it's referencing. Count the cost. What part of the body you gonna be? You gonna be the feet and the toes and the shins and the kneecaps and the lower waist, or gonna be the upper body, the head, the holy of holies, spiritually, obviously. Knowing what's at stake, knowing your salvation's on the line, knowing that nobody's saved until the end. And that's what we preach for the most part. All Israelites don't agree with the same things, but the point is, if you're an Israelite, you still have an opportunity to be redeemed, as long as you're not being a filthy sinner, obviously, and having faith in who world calls Christ. Like the other brother that we just watched in the debate with Assad say, Yahushua is not the Messiah, but we did, like I said, this debate wasn't really touching on Daniel 9 or anything like that, but hopefully, what's the dude's name that came in earlier? Sandman or whatever. We can discuss that next week. But I'm going to close out. Give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh. B'Shem Mashiach Yahushua and Shay Shalom.